He told Dean. Saturday at the park, a beautiful afternoon at Sinsheimer Stadium for some baseball. The San Luis Obispo Blues hosting the California Expos a few days before they head off to play in a conference matchup against the Sonoma Stompers up north of the Bay Area. Hello everyone and welcome inside the broadcast booth. Nate Mills alongside Ryan Giacomini for the Ancient Owl pregame show, getting you set up for the California Expos and your San Luis Obispo Blues. Well, Ryan, the Blues are coming off a much-needed 4-1 victory over the Santa Maria Indians last night. I talked about how that was not only a must-win game, it was a must-dominate game. They got the dub, but they didn't dominate. There were some concerning signs there.
Yeah, the bats didn't really come alive until late in the game. You got a 2 RBI single in the 7th inning by Don Jordan, and then a 2 RBI single by Kate O'Hara in the 8th. That propelled them to the win. But yeah, honestly, a very disappointing performance at the plate from the team, especially with a bunch of guys who we're going to expect to see as everyday guys for the Blues for the remainder of the summer, guys that you would expect to produce more offense than they did.
Certainly a lot of hittable pitches for San Luis Obispo last night, and the bat that came through first was Don Jordan, a guy who had kind of been struggling to put a nice piece on a baseball so far this season. He came through with his brand new bat. We talked about how particular he is with his baseball bats. He was swinging one that was not a brand he typically likes, and he had his best night at the yard so far this summer. So he started the line. Kate O'Hara came in later with a 2 RBI single and tacked on 2 more for San Luis Obispo. And that's all she wrote. But there were so many instances, Ryan, with runners in scoring position where the Blues just couldn't get it done through the first 2/3 of the game.
Yeah, 0 for 8 going into the 7th inning with runners in scoring position. Just can't happen, especially with a team like the Indians. The Stompers, they got off to a little bit of a rough start this season too, 1-2. But, they're a team that can bang, and they have good college pitchers who are not going to be easy to hit. So when you have runners in scoring position, you have to capitalize.
Kate O'Hara started at shortstop last night, and as I said, he had that extra insurance 2 RBI single late in the 8th inning against the Santa Maria Indians. And tonight, he's starting on the bump for San Luis Obispo, his first ever college start. He was primarily a shortstop at Texas and then was messing around in the bullpen with the Blues. More bullpen appearances with Texas last season, but never actually started a game. I'm really excited to see what Kate O'Hara has.
Me too. I'm interested to see what Dean has in store for him, whether it's going to be an opener type where he's going to throw an inning or 2, or whether he's going to throw like an actual starter and, maybe go 4, 5, 6, depending on how he's throwing and, whatever pitch count he's on for today. But yeah, just really interesting, especially with how many pitchers are on this team. You have a bunch of guys who've started games in college. You're going to go with a guy who's mainly been a closer or a relief guy for his whole career. It's just kind of an interesting outlook for the team today. But again, I am also very excited to see what happens with Cade on the mound today, and then what they do with him afterwards in the game.
I'm curious to see the stuff of Kate O'Hara, because we know that fastball has arm side run. It can hike up there in the upper 80s. We saw him pitch in relief a couple nights ago, and we saw that the fastball velocity was there. I wonder how he pitches these guys this afternoon. If there's going to be slider heavy, if he has a splitter or a changeup. We don't really know that deep his arsenal, because when he came into relief, it was mostly fastball and just blew it by the hitter. So wondering if it's the same strategy tonight against the California Expos.
Yeah, it's just such a different approach as a starter. Most relievers nowadays, hard fastball with an off-speed pitch or 2, but starters are developing 5, 6, 7 pitch mixes. So it'll be really interesting to see, because you mentioned heavy fastball guy uses the slider a little bit. It'll be interesting to see if, he goes to a changeup or a splitter or maybe a curveball, another pitch that he can incorporate. Because as a starter, if you're trying to go, 4 or 5 innings, it's hard with just 2 pitches, because usually, you save one of your better pitches or one of your secondary pitches like a changeup or splitter for the second time through the order. Show it once or twice in that first 9 batters. But if you only have 2 pitches, you have to show both of them to all the hitters the first time through the order.
And we'll see what Kate O'Hara has in store for us this late afternoon. So who's at shortstop now? Well, it's Gavin Constantine over at short, making his first start for the Blues in 2025. 2025. A lot of familiar faces around the diamond. Zach Tellerman over at first base, a longtime Blue, returning for his third season, making his first start in 2025. And, of course, Brennan Comerford over at the hot corner. And there's got to be some sort of cohesion when you are playing with guys that you're familiar with in summer ball, especially because that's something really rare. You don't get a lot of times repeaters of summer ball teams. It's usually a different stranger each summer. So to see it this year is something special.
Yeah, I mean, when you look all around the diamond, you have EJ, a returner and center. You have Brody Miller, who played with the team last summer behind the dish. Kate O'Hara, who played here 2 years ago on the mound. So a bunch of guys who have been with this program for a little while and kind of understand what Dean wants, what Renee wants at the plate, and understand how each other play. I mean, you're just Braden Jeffries away from last year's starting infield for the most part. So a lot of cohesion, especially on that infield. Expect them to play well today. Hopefully limit the errors. 3 errors yesterday, something they do just need to improve on overall. And so I would expect a good game defensively from the infield.
Hopefully a lot cleaner for the infield. Eli Henderson's over at second base. Not a returner, but as we've seen, a spectacular second baseman defensively, making a throw across his body on opening weekend. That's all we got for the Ancient Owl pregame show. Thank you for tuning in on the Slow Blues streaming network. The Blues getting ready to host the California Expos in a 2-game series right after this on the Slow Blues streaming network. Welcome back to Sinsheimer Stadium in beautiful San Luis Obispo, California. A picturesque day on the Central Coast as the hometown San Luis Obispo Blues host the California Expos for a two-game series. Let's introduce you to the starting lineup for the Expos. Kai Butler plays center field and leads it off. Cam Bowen plays right field and bats second. Caleb Lattimore, the shortstop, will bat third. Jimmy Martinez, the only left-handed batter in this lineup, plays first and cleans it up. Justice Coughlin, the DH, bats fifth. Elijah Garay catches and bats sixth. Gavin Enns, the center fielder, bats seventh. Zane Thornton, the third baseman, bats eighth. And the second baseman, Gio Chavez, rounds it out in the 9 spot. Now here's the defensive alignment for the San Luis Obispo Blues. Brody Miller throwing down the signs behind home plate. Zach Tellerman making his 2025 debut with the Blues over at first base. Eli Henderson at second with Brendan Comerford at third. And Gavin Constantine making his first start this summer at shortstop. The outfield left to right is Ashlock, Royal, and Jordan, with Gavin Smith DHing. And on the mound for the San Luis Obispo Blues, a right-hander from Dana Point, California, Cade O'Hara.
O'Hara, mainly a two-pitch guy, fastball slider, but as Nate and I mentioned in the pregame show, we got to see a third or fourth pitch from him today. In his one outing so far this year, he threw an inning, gave up 2 hits, but no damage done, no strikeouts, no walks either. But I would not be surprised to see him work a changeup or a splitter into his fastball slider arsenal today.
And we were lucky enough to see the dawning of his pitching career 2 summers ago with San Luis Obispo. Only just 4 innings there and 3 strikeouts, just 1 walk and 2 hits, no runs. And that continued over at Austin with the Longhorns. A .275 earned run average in 2024. In his 13 appearances, he threw 19 2/3 innings, 12 strikeouts to 6 walks. Now he's starting on the mound today for San Luis Obispo. This is the first game that Cade O'Hara has ever started as a right-handed pitcher. So Ryan and I are awfully curious to see how Dean Trainer will use him this afternoon against the Expos. San Luis Obispo wearing the blue tops with the silver numbers, pinstripe white pants, and the California Expos wearing some funky-looking red and white uniforms. So blue base with the red stripe across, and Expos written in blue and cursive across. White numbers on the back for California as O'Hara tosses the ball on the mound, and we are ready to go at Sinsheimer. From the windup, here's the first pitch to Kai Butler, and it's in there for a strike. 4:05 p.m. is the first pitch, 89 miles an hour on the fastball. A 79-degree and sunny day in San Luis Obispo. Picture perfect. First pitch is swung on and second pitch is swung on and missed for strike 2. Oh-2 count to the leadoff man, Kai Butler for the California Expos. Here's the pitch. Check swing, and thought they were going to peel over to first, and they didn't do so. It's going to be called a ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Kai Butler.
Very close pitch. Very close pitch there. Hard to take in a 2-strike count after he blew 2 fastballs right over the plate.
1-2, he climbed the ladder, strikeout swinging. Cade O'Hara collects his first strikeout in his first start in a Blues uniform.
90-mile-an-hour chocolate mousse. Looks good, not good for you.
Kai Butler goes down swinging, and now it's Cam Bowen, outfielder from Reedley College and a native of Fresno, California. From the windup, first pitch is off the hands and spun off the bag. Tollerman gobbles it right up, right place, right time. He just taps the bag for the unassisted putout for the second out of the inning.
Tollerman gets lucky there. He thought that ball was for sure foul and didn't even really give an offer to it, but because it hit the bag, he had an opportunity to get it 90 miles an hour the other way off the hands. A pretty good piece there by the 2-hitter Bowen.
And you never really know where the baseball is going to go when it hits off an uneven surface like the bag over at first base. That could have gone a plethora of areas, and luckily it was right in the breadbasket of Zach Tollerman. So now here's the first pitch to Caleb Lattimore, and it's a called strike at 90 miles an hour.
Just 5 pitches in, but 6 pitches in, Cade O'Hara pounding the strike zone.
0-1, swing and a miss. Strike 2 to Lattimore. And Lattimore down in the count, no balls and 2 strikes. He led the Central Valley Conference in strikeouts this past season. And 32 at Coalinga Community College. 0-2, swing and a miss. Strike 3. Not a bad start for Cade O'Hara in the top of the first inning. We head to the home half of the frame on the SLO Blues streaming network. Bottom of the first inning from Sinsheimer Stadium, and Kate O'Hara made easy work of the California Expos. A 1-2-3 inning with 2 strikeouts. E.J. Royal leading it off for the Blues. He's followed by Gavin Constantine and Brandon Comerford. Following those 3, it's Gavin Smith, Don Jordan, Mason Ashlock, Zach Tollerman, Eli Henderson, and Brody Miller in the 9th spot for the Blues. Here's E.J. Another one of those regulars Ryan and I were talking about in the pregame show. As the first pitch is lazily sent down the right field line, and it drops in for a base hit. Aggressive turnaround first, and he'll stay at the bag as the throw comes into the infield. There goes the no-hitter from Colton Isom, today's starter for the Expos.
No-hitter is indeed gone as E.J. Royal just slapped that one the other way, and making his debut, who's calling?
Gavin Constantine strolling up to the plate. Brand new walk-up song from last summer. Had a plate appearance yesterday and was hit by a pitch coming in late in yesterday's game against the Santa Maria Indians. First one to him is swung on and missed. A changeup for strike 1. And Constantine this past season spent his sophomore season at St. Bonaventure with the Bonnies, a .250 average. Pick over to first, Royal back in plenty of time. 18 hits out of his 72 at-bats. He made 20 starts, a significant jump from last season. His true freshman year, only making 4 starts, and struggled putting the bat to ball there, but figured it out this year. He talked about his mentality in his sophomore campaign. 0-1, missing high, a ball and a strike. And he really just said that there was a lot less pressure on himself, I think. There was also a factor of it being Division I baseball, and you finally made it, and there's pressure to do well immediately, and it doesn't always go that way. The curveball slips out of the hand of Colton Isom behind the back of Constantine, 2 balls and a strike.
Yeah, Isom 4-pitch mix. You're going to see fastball, changeup, slider, and curveball. A fastball, mid to low 80s, but then the off-speed pitches will drop it into the high 60s, so pretty big drop-off in speed.
Here's the 2-1. Constantine dodges out of the way of that fastball up and in at 84 miles an hour. 3 balls and a strike. Hitters count to Gavin.
So 85 and, or 84, and a little bit of movement inside, but then you have that curveball that's 19 miles per hour slower, so pretty big change.
3-1 is spun on and hit over the netting behind home plate. Fills it up at 3 balls and 2 strikes for Gavin Constantine.
Constantine, like Nate and I mentioned, also played here last year. He was a solid bat, solid glove. Just had some struggle striking out. But if he can lower that strikeout number, he struck out about 28% of the time last year. So if he could lower that, he could be a really good bat.
Fouls this one up and out of play again. We'll do it again at 3 balls and 2 strikes.
When we saw him at the plate last year, pretty patient guy at the plate, and then when he got his pitch, he ripped it. A couple extra base hits, an on base percentage of almost 360, which is pretty solid for your second baseman.
Runner on first, it's E.J. Royal. He reached on a single to begin this inning. He'll pick back over to the bag, and he's back in plenty of time. And Gavin this past year drove in 12 runs after a big old goose egg in that spot his freshman season. Again, that confidence surging in year 2 with the Bonnies. 3-2, check swing. They say went around. That's strike 3. Constantine goes down swinging for the first out of the inning.
Not Constantine's most comfortable swing. He was expecting another 3-2 fastball, but drop a changeup in there, and he was out in front, couldn't hold the swing.
So now it's Brendan Comerford, the third baseman with a runner on first. One of the more productive hitters in the entire Blues lineup. So far with SLO, he's already driven in 8 runs. We're in game number 5 of the season. Comerford sends it up and straight back out of play for strike 1. And Brendan, our reigning SLO Blues Player of the Week. A pretty nice performance on opening weekend against the Coastal Dodgers and the West Coast Kings. Racking up that on-base percentage.
Comerford has reached base safely in every single game so far.
Pick over to first, Royal back in time.
RBIs in 3 of those 5 games.
That includes 4 hit by pitches and 4 walks on that on-base percentage. Hugging home plate in the right-handed batter's box. They check Royal again. And he's safe once again. EJ with 2 stolen bags this summer. Had 19 last year for San Luis Obispo. 0-1. Royal takes off. Comerford puts it in play. The third baseman, Thornton, launches it over to first in time to retire Brendan. But Royal advances to second base on the infield ground out from Comerford.
Somewhat productive out, getting a runner in scoring position with 2 outs. With EJ's speed, if Gavin Smith can hit a single that touches in the outfield, EJ will most likely score. Rene Regalado, known for having a more aggressive approach over as the third base coach, so he will send EJ regardless.
Here's Gavin Smith making his 5th start in a Blues uniform this summer. The home run hero from opening day against the Coastal Dodgers. First pitch. Smith watches that one high and inside. A ball, no strikes.
You know, we keep mentioning that home run he hit now over a week ago, but it's just so impressive because it's so hard to get the ball out here, and he did it in his first ever at-bat.
Yeah, you certainly don't see it often here at Sinsheimer. Wind is blowing out to the left field corner today. We'll see how long that lasts. 1-0, missing low and outside. 2-0 now to Gavin Smith. We talked about his family lineage at Harvard. It's literally insane. You can trace back his relatives to before the founding of the United States, the 1600s. 2-0 in there for a strike. That's how long his family has been involved at Harvard University. In fact, one of his relatives was the president of Harvard University.
And the 8th ever president of Harvard. I mean, you mentioned that lineage goes way back.
Shout out John Rogers. 2-1, missing low and outside. 3 balls and a strike. And for those of you in the class of 1649, it's probably a nostalgic name for you to hear. 3 balls and a strike to Gavin Smith with a runner on second. Right back up the middle, bouncing ball to Latimer on the run to his left. Makes the throw to first. Nice play to retire the side. The Blues strand a runner, but they get a hit. No runs and no errors. Scoreless, heading to the second on the SLO Blue streaming network. Top of the second inning from Sinsheimer Stadium in San Luis Obispo. The Blues and the California Expos tied at 0. And Kate O'Hara heads back out there for a second inning of work. First pitch to Jimmy Martinez is taken for a strike. Martinez, Justice Laughlin, and Elijah Garay due up for the California Expos. O'Hara buries his face in his glove, now comes through on the windup, and the 0-1's a high bouncing ball to Comerford, a leaping grab, a couple shuffles over to first, and a dart to Tulliman retires Martinez for the first out.
Great play by Comerford over there at third. You know, got to be a little uncomfortable for him being on that side of the infield, considering he's been playing so much first base to start the summer, but right there he has no trouble with that high chopper.
And I thought for sure that was going to bounce over his head. It looked like he didn't time up the bounding ball that well, but he came up with it, and threw a strike over to Tolman at first base. So now it's Laughlin, today's DH, as he hits this one off the hands to Constantine. He plays it on the easy hop, and over to first. Tollerman can't glove it. Short hopped it to the first baseman, Zach Tollerman, and that's an error for the shortstop, Constantine. And Ryan, we're talking about how Blues need to minimize those errors and they get going early in the second inning.
Yeah, I think Constantine just rushed that one because he thought he had less time than he actually did, and it's going to cost them it's going to give the Expos a base runner with one out.
You're making your Blues debut, so new to this team, but well involved with the theme of what's been going on in non-conference play. And if they want to have any success this summer, they got to really clean it up on defense. This happened last year, though. Blues ended up figuring it out and making the postseason. As the first pitch is a bouncy ball to Comerford, who fields it on a tough backhand and makes the throw on the run. What a play by Brendan Comerford. He's flashed the leather twice this inning.
Yeah, a couple of really good plays. I think he would have had time to go around the infield if he really wanted to, but all of his momentum was pulling him in and towards first, so he decides to just get one out. The way Cade O'Hara is pitching, I don't blame the man. He's only, I think, 14 pitches deep, and he's already recorded 5 outs.
Now, O'Hara's filling up the strike zone well. It's pitches that the Expos think they can handle. They're putting it in play, just not as hard as they'd like. So now here's Gavin Enns, the center fielder for California. With the runner on second base, O'Hara peeks there, now delivers. Off-speed pitch missing low and outside. Brody Miller smothers it in the dirt. The ball no strike to Enns. The Sunbird from Fresno Pacific University, coming off his first season at FPU, and .294 batting average, drove in 11 runs. Here's the 1-0. Swing and a miss, strike one. .441 slugging percentage for Gavin Enns. That includes 3 doubles and a triple in his 10 hits. Only starting in 9 games in his true freshman season. Peek at second base, now O'Hara fires. Misses up and inside, 2 balls and a strike. College career still loading for Gavin Enns. He's got a lot ahead of him entering his sophomore season, but he was the man in high school at Kingsburg, Offensive Player of the Year his senior campaign. 2-1, missing below the zone, 3 balls and a strike from O'Hara.
First three ball strike that O'Hara has been in this game, like you mentioned, just filling up the strike zone, and these Expo hitters are swinging and chopping it over to the infielders.
Here's a 3-1. Swing and a miss, strike 2. Fastball elevated 89 miles an hour. Enns tried to go after it, came up empty. Fans bellow for their hot sauce. In a 3-2 count with 2 gone and a runner at second. Long hold. Here's the payoff pitch. Fastball just missing outside. I think O'Hara wanted Enns to chase after it. He held up his swing, and it's a base on balls from Cade O'Hara, the first walk of his outing.
Just a really good pitch in a 3-2 count. He tried to go outside because Cade has a little bit of arm side run, so he could start that pitch a little bit off the plate and hope it sneaks back into the zone. That one just didn't have as much run as he was expecting and didn't quite clip the corner.
So now it's Zane Thornton with runners on first and second. And 2 gone in the top half of the second inning. Still a scoreless ball game at Sinsheimer Stadium, just underway about 15 minutes ago. And a decent showing here on a beautiful 80-degree afternoon on the Central Coast. First pitch, a wild swing and a miss for strike 1. Zane Thornton from Salem, Utah, the current Pirate at Porterville College. Didn't play this past season for the Pirates, entering his redshirt sophomore season as a JUCO Bandit. O'Hara sighs as he comes set at the belt. Now kicks and deals, and a slider is swung on and missed for strike 2.
It's a very tough pitch to read. It's only about 5 miles an hour slower than the fastball, but it has that breaking action away, and Thornton just did not see it.
0-2. Another slider just missing outside, a ball and 2 strikes.
That's a big league take from Thornton. He just swung at that same pitch, but that time able to recognize it out of the hand and take it for a ball.
It didn't miss by much, that's for sure. A closed-off stance in the right-handed batter's box as Thornton awaits O'Hara, who's still staring down his catcher Miller. He'll step off the rubber. Trying to get on the same page in terms of signs. And O'Hara and Miller have been known each other for a few weeks now. And it's his first time pitching to him in an actual game situation. Long look at second, now the delivery. 1-2 is a hard grounder to the third. Comerford spins and throws across his body, and Tullerman can't make the play. Another error over at first base, and a run comes in to score. Stop sign over at third, and retreating back to the bag is Gavin Enns. 2 errors in 1 inning brings home the first run of the ball game for the California Expos. It's 1-0.
Just Comerford just doing a little too much. He had the 2 flashy plays earlier, but that time he had plenty of time to just set his feet and throw it, but went with the spin throw and hit Tullerman's glove, but 6'5" outstretched glove, and it just tipped off the top. Not a great throw over to first.
So 1-0, California Expos strike first, and with runners at second and third, it's Gio Chavez, today's second baseman. First pitch to him is right at Comerford at third, who catches it on the line and retires the side, but not before California strikes first. 1-0 Expos, heading to the home half of the second, the Slow Boost Streaming Network.
Prizes to give away.
Don Jordan leading it off for San Luis Obispo in the bottom half of the second inning, and was now a 1-0 ball game against the California Expos. Blues trailing, and first pitch missing inside to Jordan for a ball. Well, Jordan yesterday had the first offensive explosion game we've seen from him. We've been teased with that power these first few weeks in batting practice, and he showed his ability to hit the baseball hard with a 100-mile-an-hour single as he fouls this one straight back for strike one. But it wasn't, the single was not the headliner last night. It was another single he hit in the 7th that drove in 2 runs, the first 2 for the Blues that evening in a game where they were trailing 1-0 against the Santa Maria Indians. It felt like a slow but painful death for the Blues up until that point. Jordan sparked some life into this offense, and Kate O'Hara followed suit in the 8th inning right after. 1-1, it's an off-speed pitch missing downstairs. 2 balls and a strike to Don Jordan. Jordan 3 for 4 day yesterday. A trio of singles with a walk in the 4th. And it looks like he's staying with that same bat he used yesterday. Here's the 2-1. Jordan watches the fastball outside. 3 balls and 1 strike.
Yeah, kind of as we expected. I tried to talk to him before the game, but couldn't get to him. And I was going to ask him, are you going to use the bomb? Or are you going to? Did the torpedoes come in? Are you going to use those? And answered our question here in the second inning with that pink bomb bat.
3-1. Jordan fouls it up and out of play, filling up the count at 3 balls and 2 strikes. And it really seemed like he was particular about what kind of bat he uses. So surprised to see him use the pink bomb in the first place. There was a torpedo bat in the dugout already. Could have just used that one.
It's tough as a player because those torpedo bats aren't as durable as a bomb bat, and if you break the only torpedo bat, then that player is also disadvantaged.
3-2 spun on down the first base line. Yeah, absolutely. And I wonder what he's feeling right now at the plate, because he's probably uncomfortable with this bat, and he made it clear that he's uncomfortable with the bomb bat. He doesn't like how it sounds off the barrel. And shoot, he did a pretty good job finding the barrel yesterday, 100 miles an hour through the 5-5 hole, and an RBI, 2 RBI single right back up the middle. 3-2. Jordan watches that one bounce outside for ball 4. Ryan, what was that?
A leadoff walk.
What is a leadoff walk?
It is ill-advised, and
what could it do?
it could come back to haunt you.
Ooh. A leadoff walk for Don Jordan, and now it's Mason Ashlock.
Yeah, I mean, ever since Don Jordan switched to the bomb bat, he has got on base 5 of his last 6 at-bats. So, I mean, maybe a little uncomfortable, but something he might, be okay getting used to if he's going to, get on base that much.
This one ripped in front of the left fielder, ends for a single. Back-to-back base runners for the Blues, and they're in business in the second. 101 off the bat of Ashlock.
Hardest hit ball of the summer for Ashlock on a line. Just beat out Don Jordan, who now stands on second with that ill-advised leadoff walk.
So here's Zach Tollerman making his Blues debut in the summer of 2025. Just finished his first and only season at San Jose State. He's bounced around a few times for his college career, spent 2 years at Cuesta, and then a year at UC Riverside, and transferred over to play at San Jose State. First pitch to him is in there for a strike.
Joined one of his good friends who he made here last summer, Jariah Lewis, over at San Jose State, where he had a pretty solid season over there as a redshirt senior.
And he and Lewis hit it off so well in summer ball that they became roommates as well up in San Jose. Runners on first and second. Here's the 0-1. Tellerman watches the off speed in there for a strike. A changeup buckled him up on the inside part of the plate.
Yeah, he plays a power position, but not a guy who hits for a lot of power. He's just going to slap the ball around the yard, get on base, move runners over. That's just kind of the way he plays.
Did find that power stroke with the Spartans this year, though. 4 home runs, 5 doubles, and a triple. 0-2. Tollerman softly hits it to the third baseman Thornton, who taps the bag, throws it over to first on one hop, and they retire the first baseman Tollerman. A 5-3 double play brings 2 outs and a runner on second in the inning.
Just honestly a really good play from Thornton. It's really tough as a third baseman to make that decision. Are you going to go touch your bag, then go to first, or are you going to throw it around the horn? And usually taught to go to third, because around the horn is just really difficult to do, especially for the second baseman. So right there, he touches third. Not the greatest throw over to first, but it bounced far enough away from Martinez that he was able to make an easy pick.
So now it's Eli Henderson with a runner on second, and Henderson squibs it on the ground right side. Martinez drops to a knee, flips it over to his pitcher, Isom, who's at the bag in time to retire the side. Blues come up empty with runners in scoring position. It's 1-0 California heading into the third on the Slow Blue Streaming Network. New pitcher in the top half of the third inning from Sinsheimer Stadium. Kate O'Hara's day is done after 2 innings of work. No hit, a run, it was unearned, a walk and 2 strikeouts. He gives way to the new blue, Jack Hickerson, and the Baylor Bear coming all the way from Texas, making his first appearance for San Luis Obispo this afternoon. Redshirted his first season with the Bears, one of the most highly anticipated high school prospects in the state of Texas. And the thing that you have to mention in the same sentence as his name is his changeup. The first pitch is a fastball missing inside for a ball. It's the leadoff man, Kai Butler, for the California Expos. Cam Bowen and Caleb Latimer follow shortly after. 1-0 ball game in the top half of the third inning. The Blues trail 1-0. And this one hit off the front foot of the leadoff man, Butler. 89 miles an hour on that fastball from Hickerson. 1 ball and 1 strike to Butler.
Hickerson, a tall, lanky pitcher with kind of a funky mix. He likes to work all the way on the left side of the rubber from where we're standing. It's pretty odd for a righty. 4-pitch guy, fast, sink, change, and slide. Likes that fastball, likes that slider. Will use the changeup and sinker occasionally.
1-1, confused swing and a miss for strike 2.
There's that slider right there. Or changeup right there, excuse me. Pulls that out of the arsenal in his first batter he faces.
And like I said, Hickerson is a guy you're going to see a lot of changeup from. Probably his best pitch in the arsenal. Get a healthy mix of that today. 1-2. Fastball hit off the bat and high in the air, out of play. Do it again at a ball and 2 strikes. Ryan, what was your high school GPA? What'd you finish with?
I had a 3.88, 3.83, something like that.
Is that weighted or unweighted?
Weighted.
Weighted?
Yeah.
1-2. Curveball missing high and tight, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
This Hickerson better show me up.
4.4.
Jesus.
Grade point average. Academic weapon.
That's why I do journalism.
He hurls baseballs.
He goes to Baylor.
1-2. Slider missing high and outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I mean, not to say Cal Poly is a great academic school, but so is Baylor. So.
And one of the more prestigious schools within the state of Texas. Born and raised in Dallas, staying within state. About a 3-hour drive from Dallas. 2-2. Fastball missing low and inside for ball 4. It looks like the count was wrong on our end over here. That was actually ball 4 to Kai Butler.
Ill-advised.
Can come back to haunt you.
Didn't haunt the Expos in the bottom of the second. We'll see if that'll haunt the Blues or not in the third.
Now it's the 2-hole hitter, Cam Bowen. Grounded out to the first baseman, Tollerman, for the unassisted putout. And a funky play on a ball that spun off the first base bag and right into the breadbasket of Tollerman. First pitch, he shows bunt, gets it down, it hugs the third baseline, and Comerford feels it in foul ground.
What a beautiful bunt down the line. Comerford, really all he could have done was just pray that that ball went foul, and it did, and then he touched it as soon as he could and when it was fully in foul ground.
Yeah, very well executed bunt, just caught the wrong part of the grass ridge on the infield section.
Well, you got to be really careful too, because we see it in batting practice when they practice their bunting. It'll roll in foul ground, hit that grass on the left side of the base path, and then roll back in. So you really got to make sure once it's foul, you pick it up.
That's why you see a lot of Blues corner infielders touch it immediately when it's in foul ground. The 0-1. Fastball missing high, a ball and 1 strike. Cam Bowen's a rising sophomore at Reedley College, a native of Fresno, California, and coming off a second-team All-Central Valley Conference season at Reedley. A 3.11 average, drove in 18, just 1 homer. Runner takes off toward second base. Here's the throw from Miller to Henderson. Not in time. A stolen bag for Kai Butler puts a runner in scoring position for the Expos.
Really good throw, good tag, but Kai Butler just got too good of a jump and showed off the wheels. Good slide into second base. It was a really close play. Brody Miller made it close with a strong arm and the accurate throw.
So now a runner at second, a 1-0 ball game. California leads San Luis Obispo. Top of the third from Sinsheimer, new pitcher Jack Hickerson in the game. Kicks and deals on the 1-2, and it's right to the second baseman Henderson. He races to the bag, and he got him. Great hustle from Eli Henderson on the double play to bring 2 in this inning.
And just honestly bad base running as we take another look at it. You're taught to freeze on a line drive. Henderson made a great play. He was holding the runner on, and then it was hit right to him. A smooth slide into second base from the second baseman to get the out.
Now with 2 gone, it's Caleb Latimer. He struck out swinging to end the first inning against Cade O'Hara.
So that's an odd one for me to write in my scorebook. L4UDP.
Yep.
I don't know if, it looks like hieroglyphics in that 2-hole.
Looks like a Wi-Fi password. 1-0 to Caleb Latimer. Off the hands and popped up behind home plate. Miller with his mask off won't have a play as it lands in the orange row for strike 1. Latimer just finished up 2 years of JUCO ball at Coalinga Community College and played with the Falcons. Now committed to Oklahoma Baptist University. Ryan?
No.
I don't think you'd get this in a million years.
The Renegades.
Ooh, the Vikings. You're in a good category.
Yeah, that's not that.
Yeah.
I feel like that's not that far.
1-1 almost hits Latimer in the helmet. He ducks beneath the pitch. 2 balls and a strike. You know, because of all the Vikings that are in Oklahoma.
Yes.
Don't you know the lore?
Very well known. I remember I've been to the Viking Museum they got down there.
2-1. Looks like it's off the elbow. 90 miles an hour straight off the forearm, actually, from Caleb Latimer. And I feel like I've been seeing this a lot lately. There's so much padding all over his left hand. He's got the elbow guard and the hand guard, and it somehow finds a way to hit his skin.
Right in between the two, because that hand guard rolls up above the wrist by an inch or 2, and then that elbow guard rolls down the forearm about 3 or 4 inches, but there's 6 inches of space. Baseball is only about 5 inches wide, so it's like perfectly plunking him right in that soft spot.
Summer is here, and the boys are back in town. Come celebrate the Blues' 79th season with fireworks after the game against the Menlo Park Legends next Friday. Buy your tickets now at bluesbaseball.com. If you're a season ticket holder, those tickets will work for that game, but if you're not, you have to buy the special tickets at bluesbaseball.com. June 6th firework game.
Also important to note that normally kids get in for free under 12 for all of our home games, but for firework games that does not apply. So if you're bringing in your kids, make sure you buy them tickets as well.
First pitch against Jimmy Martinez. Misses for a ball. Martinez grounded out to the third baseman Comerford to begin the second inning last time he was up. Now with 2 gone, there's a runner at first following the hit by pitch on the forearm to Latimer. Her fastball missing outside, 2 balls and no strikes. Martinez, an uncommitted first baseman outfielder from Porterville College. 320 average last season with the Pirates at Porterville. Drove in 16. There's another heater, misses outside, and they got the base runner Lattimore stuck in the middle. Miller races onto the infield grass, finally gives it off to Constantine, who goes back to first. The tag is in time. Jacob Latimer is picked off, and that ends things in the third. Still 1-0 California Expos, heading to the home half of the frame on the SLO Blues streaming network. 9-1-2 due up for San Luis Obispo in the bottom of the third inning. They trail by 1 against the California Expos here at Sinsheimer Stadium. Brody Miller leading it off, and he's the recipient of strike 1 against Colton Eisen, who is out there for his third inning of work for the Expos. A lot of soft pitches from Colton. Hasn't been blowing away these Blues hitters, but they've just had some trouble cashing in some runs and putting some hard hit balls in play as a slider sweeps below the zone. 1 ball and 1 strike to Brody Miller.
Isom also a hitter at his College of Manaki. What did we decide it was? Manaki.
And Miller watches a fastball outside. 2 balls and a strike.
He had a pretty decent season up at the plate, and including a walk-off grand slam, and might I add, one of the most pimped out bat flips I've ever seen.
That thing was sent further than the baseball. 2-1, half swing. He went around. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
He had 100 at-bats at Porterville with a 210 average and with a 280 slugging. That home run was his only of the season, and it was a walk-off grand slam.
How about that? On the mound today for the Expos. Here's the 2-2. And Miller watches that one for the Birds. 3 balls and 2 strikes. On deck, it's E.J. Royal, who singled his first time up. Miller getting his first plate appearance today against the Expos. Mendocino College catcher. 3-2. And Miller with a high bouncing ball to the second baseman Chavez, who takes the hop and throws it offline. Infield base hit for Brody Miller, the third of the day for the Blues, and it gets things going in the bottom half of the third.
That'll go down as a hit in the scorebook, but it was kind of an unfortunate bounce for Brody Miller. If that thing doesn't hit the mound, it's just going to be shot through the middle, but it died on the mound, and then he had to unhook the trailer and get down the line.
Here's E.J. Royal, 1 of 1 today. 1 of 4 last night, and came around to score on the Don Jordan 2 RBI single. First pitch to him, missing low and outside, ball 1.
EJ squared around a bunt there, and as good of a bunter as he is, let him hit, Renee.
That's what I'm thinking as well. You got your best bat up there, your proven best bat, especially after the summer he had last year. 1-0 is in there for a strike.
Yeah, I mean, I would get it maybe if you were down 1 in like the 7th inning, but it's the 3rd, so you got plenty of time still to get that run back. Let EJ rip one, especially, he had a really good at-bat his first time up where he sent the ball the other way.
Long pause on the 1-1. Couple of nods. Here's the pitch. Royal watches a fastball in there for a strike. Colton Isom just nibbling away at that outside corner to E.J. Royal. Kind of surprising because he proved that he can send that pitch the opposite way, not necessarily with some thump, but went down as a base hit nonetheless.
I mean, I think they got the scouting report that if you throw anything on the inside to EJ, he's gonna hammer it. So I think he would take his chances on him flaring a pitch away the other way. And if you give up a double down the line, it is what it is. But you don't want to let him just rip one into one of the gaps on the pull side.
Gaps are huge here at Sinsheimer Stadium. This is a high bouncer over the first baseman head. Martinez for a base hit. Stopping at second base is Brody Miller. E.J. Miller is perfect on the day. 2 for 2 to begin the afternoon.
That's the type of EJ we know. Just, 2-strike approach where he just makes contact and gets lucky and gets one over the bag. As I think I might say it every time Gavin Constantine comes up, but who's calling my phone?
Constantine called to the dish after striking out swinging in the first inning. The coach for the Expos making some adjustments on Gavin, the left fielder, and scooting back on Constantine's pull side. Corner infield playing in with runners on first and second, nobody out. 2 peaks at second. Constantine shows bunt and pulls back, and it's a called strike.
Kind of got like a reverse shift going.
Yeah.
It looks like maybe they're playing a little bit of bunt defense with that second baseman. I mean, he's up the middle, or not up the middle, right in the hole on the right side. And then the shortstop is holding on Brody Miller almost directly behind him.
Quick look at second. 0-1. And Gavin hits this one off the hands, towering pop-up and foul ground. The catcher, Garay, makes the two-handed squeeze for the first out of the inning. And Constantine, in his 2 plate appearances today, has had his struggles seeing the fastball. Didn't even get a chance last night with the hit-by pitch. And there's one gone in the third inning for Brendan Comerford.
Not a great swing there. Just got a little underneath it. Especially here at Sinsheimer where the ball doesn't really fly. You just got to flatten out that swing and hit line drives to drive in runs.
Here's Comerford, the RBI leader for San Luis Obispo thus far. Runners on first and second. Blues trail 1-0 against the Expos. First pitch, buckled him up, a curveball for a strike.
It's a frisbee that started at the hip of Comerford and snuck into the zone. Comerford saw it and was just getting ready to brace for impact, and then it snuck in the zone.
Infield shifted to Brendan's pull side as the second baseman Chavez holds on Brody Miller at the bag. 0-1. Comerford ducks beneath this pitch above his head. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Losing a little bit of velo on that off speed, just 61 miles an hour on that curveball there.
Comerford cashed in at 62 this past season at Ohlone College. A career 101 RBIs in JUCO ball. And he goes the opposite way into right field. Rounding third and coming in to score is Miller. The throw is way above the base. It kicks off the backstop, and Brendan Comerford gets an RBI single and ties the game at 1 in the third.
Comerford continues to do it with the bat right there. Just slaps one the other way. They had him shifted for the pull, but they won't do that again after he showed that he can go the other way, drive in a run. The runners move up on the E9. And now 2 in scoring position and 1 out for Gavin Smith, who's second on the team in RBIs.
Questionable if that throw, if it were on the line, would throw out Brody Miller. We'll never know. This one was sailed above home plate.
I mean, it must have slipped because, I mean, even if the catcher, Garay, was 28 feet tall, it still would have been over his head.
Blues will take it. It ties the game at 1 apiece. 4th hit of the ball game for San Luis Obispo. That's actually the 5th hit of this ball game for the Blues. Gavin Smith now with runners at second and third. Here's the 1-0. Smith watches that one into the batter's box. A ball and a strike to Gavin.
And, you know, the pitcher has an option now. You could work around Smith, which is kind of what it looks like, and then face Don Jordan. But the issue with that is Don Jordan has had such a good approach at the plate in his last 6 at-bats. 6 plate appearances, I should say. I don't know if that's something you want to do.
Here's the 2-0. Smith watches that one outside. 3 balls and a strike.
And then if Don Jordan reaches base safely, you have to deal with Mason Ashlock, who has the hardest hit ball of the summer for the Blues in his first at-bat today.
It appears that Colton Isom doesn't want to mess around and find out. In the outside corner against Smith, here's the 3-0, and he swings 3-0. It's off the glove of the pitcher, Isom. The second baseman, Chavez, is there to recover, hurls it over to first in time to retire Smith, but an RBI ground out gives the Blues the lead, 2-1 in the third inning.
I like the aggressiveness from Smith. He got a 3-0 fastball and did what he's supposed to do, but a good job by Isom to knock it down and give his second baseman a chance. But it goes down as a productive RBI ground out, and there's still a runner on third and an opportunity for another run to come across.
2-1 ball game now for Don Jordan, waving the pink bomb bat behind his right ear. And another runner 90 feet away in Brendan Comerford. First pitch is a sweeper, missing low and outside, ball 1.
We have an incredible media team this year, and one thing that they're going to do every game is a Polaroid with a signature of our player of the game. Last night it was Don Jordan. We're going to start a wall of them behind Nate and I.
1-0. Jordan watches that fastball nibbling at the outside corner for strike 1.
So
I'm excited to see what that looks like.
Yeah, especially towards the end of the season, right? We missed opening weekend, so it'll be 32 Polaroids up there.
Yeah.
Place in the comments who you think is going to have the most by the end of the year.
1-1, missing downstairs, 2 balls and a strike.
Pennington.
I love that it's a divisible number too. 32.
Yeah, that's perfect.
16 by 16. 2-1. Jordan watches that one at his eyes. 3 balls and a strike now to Don.
Well, we're just going to have to work with our team and figure out what's going to look best. Do you do 2 rows of 16? Do you do, 4 rows of 8?
4 rows of 8.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
That's aesthetically pleasing.
Or do you do it by even though this would make it uneven, do you do it by weekend series? So the top 3 are the first 3 games,
3-1. It's a called strike in the bottom half of the zone. 3 balls and 2 strikes. What if we just went rogue and just
put them all over the
slapped
place
it on the wall? No order whatsoever.
It would be kind of cool actually to get the players to come up and put it on the wall themselves and get hype. That could be some cool video.
Payoff pitch. Jordan swings and misses for strike 3, leaving a runner at third. But the Blues take the lead. An RBI single from Comerford and an RBI ground out from Gavin Smith make it a 2-1 ball game heading to the 4th. Ryan Giacomini's got you on the middle third of this one on the SLO Blues streaming network.
Hickerson back out for the Blues after facing the minimum in the top half of the 3rd inning, and then his offense providing him some run support in the bottom of the 3rd. He goes back out there to face Jimmy Martinez, Justice Laughlin, and Elijah Garay. Middle of the order, 4, 5, 6.
The Blues got bailed out in that 3rd inning on a caught stealing from Latimer. He was just kind of shuffling halfway between 1st and 2nd, not really making a move to either bag.
First pitch out in front and chopped back towards the Blues dugout. Jimmy Martinez, the only lefty in today's lineup. Grounded out to Comerford his first time. That was the one where Comerford had to leap as high as he could and glove it at his peak and then make a strong throw to Tollerman, excuse me. The 1 is in the dirt to even up the count at 1-1. A changeup there from Hickerson.
Jimmy Martinez, a .422 slugger this past season at Porterville College. Uncommitted, looking for a new school. Pretty good production with the Pirates this past season, I'd say, though. Walked more than he struck out as well.
Slider misses down 2-1. Yeah, decent season. .422 slugging with that .320 average. Decent slash line. Guy who likes to hit the ball on the ground a lot. 47 ground outs to his 27 flyouts. As he's being patient here at the plate. That ball does not miss by much, but is outside, and the count in the hitter's favor, 3-1.
You don't see that recorded often for a JUCO statistician.
That one's fouled back, and then it gives us the amount of ground outs he has to flyouts. 1.74.
The ratio.
Yeah.
Kids, if you're going out there, be careful. There's cars.
11 extra base hits, no triples, but 9 doubles and a couple of bombs. That one misses down and in, and he draws a walk. So that patience that he had at Porterville carries over to his time with the Expos, and he draws a leadoff walk. Nate?
Ill-advised and come back to haunt you. It didn't really do that for San Luis Obispo in the third. The quirky L4 unassisted double play in the third inning bailed out Jack Hickerson last time. But another inning with a leadoff walk. It's not an easy way to play defense if you're San Luis Obispo.
First pitch to Laughlin, good pitch there on the outside part to bounce back after the walk.
Laughlin, a former Pirate from Porterville Community College, now at Evangel University.
The 1-0. Misses inside off speed pitch, couldn't come back and clip it.
Ryan, if you know the nickname of Evangel University, I'll give you all the money I have right now.
Evangel? Dude. I mean, I'm throwing darts with my eyes closed. Is that what misses in the dirt? The Evangel... Evangel Monsters. I don't know.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
The Valor.
Valor. That makes sense, actually. Like, that makes a lot of sense, I feel like. That it's not like an actual, like, mascot, like a pirate or...
They have, like, a lion head as their logo, but it's the Valor.
Huh.
That's the second school I can think of that is a word and not a thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a lion mascot.
The 3-1 has popped up. Brody Miller can't see it, and now he does and can't field it. It's going to be a tough play for any of the other infielders to get to. Both Tollerman and Comerford saw it and were pointing up at it, but it was about 5 steps behind where Brody Miller and the umpire squatted down. It's a very long run for either of those corner infielders.
Yeah, nothing they could do there. They could see it the whole time, and it's so frustrating when you're trying to communicate it to your catcher. It's right there. I mean, how do you paint the picture where it's at? But if Brody Miller saw that all the way in, that'd be an easy play for him. He's made that hundreds of times before, but just got unlucky, not able to see the ball off the bat.
Full count, runner goes, chopped on the ground to Comerford. No play at second with the runner going, so he'll just throw it over to Tollerman for the first out of the inning. Good play by Comerford to get the first out.
Yeah, smart move there by Brendan, not trying to do too much or be the hero and make a double play. He just fielded it, and all of his momentum was going towards first base. A couple of nice shuffles and an easy strike to Tollerman in the chest for the first out of the inning.
Yeah, with Jimmy Martinez going, there was no chance that he was going to have a play at second base. So made the smart decision to just take his time, a couple pumps, do whatever's comfortable, and get that ball over to first right in Tollerman's wheelhouse. First pitch fastball, it misses inside.
We're seeing the velocity begin to wane from Jack Hickerson. 88 miles an hour. He was just living in that 90-91 range, and seeing it dip a little bit. We do have Jackson Howell getting loose in the bullpen for the Blues.
Fastball again missed. Nate, walk me through this windup that we see from Hickerson. It's very herky-jerky from the tall righty, and he's very over the top. Like, what are you seeing from Hickerson?
Yeah, I think with these lanky frames, it's something he most likely worked on at Baylor, trying to get some more efficiency. And it kind of tells me that he struggles to throw strikes. Whenever they're teaching guys to get a little bit more on the top, that's a telltale sign that they were once maybe a 3/4 guy. Whatever arm slot they were working with just wasn't producing the amount of strikes that they wanted.
Ground ball to Comerford. He's been getting a lot of action over there. Looks the runner back, and a strike to Tollerman for the second out of the inning. That's the second time Garay has grounded out to Comerford, and the fourth assist of the day.
And Comerford staring down the runner at second base. That's the right thing you got to do. Sometimes college players, and I've seen this before, won't even look at that runner at second, and they'll just throw over to first, and they'll just take off towards third base. So walking him all the way back towards the bag and hurling over to first. Good play.
Oh, and what I love from Comerford there, because as you mentioned, a lot of guys don't even look over, is that he made sure he fielded the ball first and then looked at the runner back and wasn't getting ahead of himself, looking the runner back as the ball's coming in, and then you squeeze the glove too early or too late and it pops out. Another one to Comerford. This one takes a wicked hop on the backhand, and Constantine will field it to keep it in the infield.
An infield hit for Gavin Enns, and this was a tough play for Brendan. He tried to get it on the backhand with one knee dropped on the ground, and it looks like it just took an unfortunate hop rolling up his wrist. Luckily, it didn't hit him in the face. That's a lot of times you'll see when the ball kicks up on a wrong part of the dust or on the dirt. His face is unscathed, but just an unfortunate kick for Brendan Comerford that time.
Yeah, it kind of rolled down the lip of the grass and then caught something and rolled up the arm, as Nate just mentioned. A very tough play. It'll go as a hit for the Expos, a 2-out hit.
There's number 18, Zane.
As Martinez moved over to third on the base hit. And they are 90 feet away from the Expos are from tying this game up, as Zane Thornton, who reached on an error by Comerford in the second inning, comes up. Half swing, runner goes. The appeal over to first, no swing. Very, very close as the runner on first ends, steals second.
Yeah, no, Brody Miller was committed to appealing to first. There was not a thought in his mind on throwing it down to second. He wanted to see if that swing went around. Unfortunately for him, it didn't go.
A 1-1 is a called strike.
Might have bought a strike that time. A real nice frame from Brody Miller to bring that pitch in.
Hickerson 1 strike away from getting out of this 2-on and 2-out jam. And a 1-2 count. It's Zane Thornton. Here's the kick and the delivery. Right down the middle, strike 3 called. 89-mile-an-hour fastball. Hickerson turns up the heat to get the third out, and the Blues maintain their 1-run lead. Heading in to the bottom half of the fourth, as this break is brought to you by the talented team at Studio Design Group Architects.
Number 1101 and 1206.
Leading off for the Blues, it's Mason Ashlock. He ripped a single his first time up and was later stranded at second as he faces the new pitcher, Arturo Becerra from Fresno City College. Right-hander wearing number 1 out there as Colton Ism's day is done, throwing 3 innings, giving up 2 runs, just 1 earned, 5 hits, 1 walk, and 2 strikeouts.
I'm excited to see what Mason Ashlock can do this summer for the Blues. We're talking about his batting practice a little earlier today, and Ryan, you weren't here yet to see this, but he was parking baseballs on top of the shed out in left field. That is not an easy feat. It's 380 in the left center gap, and that shed is well beyond 380 there.
That is very impressive. I mean, like you mentioned, hard to do. I think we saw 1 ball get out over the 380 sign last year from, I think it was either Max Lane, maybe Taylor Holder during batting practice, but those guys have pop. So if he's doing that, I'm very excited to see what Ashlock has in store for the Blues this summer.
I mean, how about 11 homers and 8 doubles this past season at Weatherford Community College?
JUCO Bandit getting it done at the plate as the scissor kick slaps that one foul.
And Ashlock was committed to play for the Nebraska Cornhuskers, but has since rescinded his commitment and is back on the open market now. Transfer portal opens tomorrow.
Fastball misses away, so a big summer for Ashlock. I mean, the numbers were proven in his community college days, but committing to Nebraska, that's a powerhouse of a baseball squad. And then uncommitting, he's just looking for a new home as he draws ball 4 on a pitch way up and way in.
Here we go, a leadoff walk for the Blues. This is how you get things going here. Now you just got to pass the baton. Don't try to do too much or try to bring too much juice. And that's something that Zach Tollerman worked on a lot last summer. And it put him in a nice headspace heading into another Division I season at San Jose State. We talked about the 4 home runs and the 5 doubles he hit. Starting to figure out the power numbers that he had unlocked at Cuesta College. He sort of lost sight of that at Riverside, but
that one is ripped through the 5-5 hole for a base hit. Good piece of hitting by Zach Tollerman on the first pitch he sees. After the double play in the second, he comes back with a base hit in the 4th.
How about a triple-digit base hit, 100 miles an hour off the barrel of Zach Tollerman? The Blues are just hammering that 5-5 hole within these past 2 games, it seems like.
And that's what we were talking about that they need to do. Don Jordan had that one yesterday, and then Ashlock and Tollerman both have hits through the 5-5 hole at over 100 miles an hour. Ball is starting to find barrel for the Blues.
Yeah, this is with a wood bat too. And another thing about Ashlock finding barrels, and Ashlock's over at second base, but in the fall for Weatherford, 111 miles an hour. That was with a metal bat though, but still very impressive.
Big swing and a miss, stepping in the bucket is Eli Henderson, who grounded out to first his last time. A little introduction to Becerra. He plays for Fresno City College, but did not play this last year. In high school, he threw his senior year in 8 appearances. He threw 39 innings, gave up 21 earned runs for a 3.77 ERA, 30 strikeouts to his 6 walks. As Henderson squares the bunt, pulls it back, and it's a ball on the outer part, 1-1.
Becerra keeping into the zone pretty well in his high school career. It's not a lot of times where you find high schoolers with walk numbers that tame.
Becerra dangles that arm, working from the stretch with 2 runners on and no out. Henderson takes that one in the dirt. It gets away from the catcher, Garay, and both runners will move up 90 feet. Both runners now in scoring position with nobody out.
Now the wild pitch just made Henderson's job that much easier. Blues already up 2-1 over the Expos, but trying to pull away as much as possible. Want some good breathing room here against California. They were threatening in the last frame to tie this one up, so we want to avoid those situations as much as possible and try to cruise through with a W. This is a good opportunity here for Eli Henderson to pull away from this team.
6 hits through 3 innings as Henderson watches strike 2 on the outer part. Blues have been looking for a game where they just knock the ball all around the yard, and today might be that day.
And 6 hits so far.
Tollerman on second. Ashlock on third. Here's the 2-2. Swung on and hit hard back up the middle, right at the shortstop. He throws it over to first, and it'll be an RBI ground out for Eli Henderson.
Hey, that works too, I guess. Another RBI ground out today. The second one this afternoon for San Luis Obispo brings in their 3rd run of the day. And hey, they cashed in that run from third base, whether it was a line drive single or not. 3-1 Blues.
I mean, it was a hard hit ground ball. Got every piece of that one. 87 miles an hour, right back up the middle. Now that ball's 2 feet to the right from our vantage point. That's probably a 2 RBI knock as the infield comes in, and Brody Miller, who hit a single and later scored in the second inning, comes up to plate and looks at ball 1 low. Miller the backstop today. Caught O'Hara the starter, and then Hickerson, who came in relief. 1-0 curveball dropped by the catcher, but a called strike. Miller on a 2-week contract with the Blues, the junior from Mendocino College. 6'4", pretty tall for a catcher. Originally from Santa Maria and Rigetti High School. As the Aces are free, he swings and chops that one. Good play by the first baseman, Martinez, as he will tap his bag. Tollerman does not advance home, and there will now be 2 gone with Tollerman still on third base.
Yeah, that looked like it was going to be awfully similar to the single that E.J. Royal hit in the 3rd. The high bouncing ball over the first baseman Martinez's head. This time he sized it up a lot better. It was less bounding than the first one. And he makes the play with the unassisted put at first.
A reminder that this inning is brought to you by our talented team at Studio Design Group Architects. Whether you're designing, planning, or needing permits for a space, Studio Design Group and their collaborative philosophy as E.J. Royal slaps that one through the left side. RBI base hit as Tollerman comes home. And it's Blues score, you score pricing at the ballpark.
There's EJ, still perfect today. 3 for 3, driving in another run for San Luis Obispo, making it 4-1. As you said, Ryan, the hits are pouring on 7 through 4 here at Sinsheimer.
Familiar sighting, seeing EJ Royal hit an RBI knock as Tollerman comes around to score. Let me remind you that this inning is brought to you by Studio Design Group. Their collaborative philosophy will have you covered no matter what you're doing, designing, planning, or needing permits. Visit sdgarchitects.com to learn more. First pitch to Constantine, misses low. Constantine 0 for 2, a strikeout and a pop out and foul ground. EJ on first. Constantine takes a strike on the outer part, a fastball that just catches the zone. Constantine came in yesterday and pinch hit in the 8th inning, was hit by a pitch, stole third, and later scored. I mentioned today 0 for 2, has yet to put the ball in fair territory, as the 1-1 is a called strike. Could see some movement here and a 1-2 count with 2 outs and a runner on first.
I'd like to see Constantine get into one. He's had a rough day so far at the ball yard. Made an error over at short. His first at bat, he struck out swinging and a soft pop out to the catcher. Really like to see him hit one on the screws here and get back on the right track.
Throw over to first. EJ gets back safely. And, you know, it is tough. He played here last summer, but it's tough when you play a whole season like he did over at St. Bonnie's, and then you got to come over here and adjust to the new ballpark. His ugly swing and a miss over the top of that one to end the inning. The Blues do strike on an Eli Henderson ground out single and an EJ Royal RBI single, and they extend their lead to 3. It's 4-1 Blues here on the SLO Blues streaming network. Jackson Howell will take over for Hickerson in relief for the 5th inning as he's going to face 9-1-2. Howell, returner from last year, was a every weekend starter for the Blues as that one misses away. 1-0. He started almost every single weekend for the Blues last year. This year, we assume, we haven't got the chance to talk to him, but we assume he's working back from injury, and that's why he's coming in relief and doing 1 2-inning stints for the Blues, as that one is rocketed to E.J. Royal in center, but he just takes a few steps to his left and brings it down for the first out of the inning.
Yeah, good contact off the bat there from Gio Chavez, the 9-hole hitter for the Cal Expos, but an easy play for E.J. Royal, just a couple steps to his left, and just a very frustrating moment if you're a hitter. You hit it on the screws and you think it's going to fall for a base hit at least, and there's a guy right there. Last time Howell was out, he pitched in relief against the West Coast Kings in Game 2.
First pitch to the leadoff hitter, Kai Butler, is a called strike. He drew a walk in a full count his last time, stole second, and was stranded there. Excuse me, he made it to third actually on that at bat as he swings and misses at a big slider, and the count runs 0-2. That pitch started down the middle and was up off the plate by the time it got into the glove of Brody Miller. The 0-2 goes right back to it. This one started on the outside plate and never had a chance. 1-2.
The middle infield giving big part of around second base wide open, some real estate there for the center fielder. I'm looking there if I'm trying to put together a base hit.
After back-to-back strikes to start the at-bat, back-to-back pitches in the dirt to even it up at 2-2. Howell last summer for the Blues started 8 games. All 8 appearances were starts. Had a 3-3 record in 37 1/3. He gave up 9 earned runs with his 2.17 ERA. Was, like I said, everyday guy. That one hits the infield grass. And third straight pitch that doesn't make it to home plate. And the count runs to 3-0.
Yeah, his command seems lost right now. I mean, 2 bouncing balls not even reaching the infield or the home plate dirt. That one was just yanked on the infield grass.
From 0-2 to 3-2, another pitch in the dirt. 4 straight pitches in the dirt for Jackson Howell, and another walk for Kai Butler.
These are command lapses that we didn't see this past season, just trying to get readjusted to pitching against live batters. Jackson Howell doesn't typically miss like that.
Yeah, he's a guy who really keeps runners off the base pass. A 1-1-3 whip last summer, 14 walks, 28 hits. I mean, that 14 walk number, he's walking, about a runner every 3 innings of work. Right there, those 4 pitches all just got away from him. Another pitch that just misses way outside. 5 straight balls for Jackson Howell after recording a 1-pitch out and then getting ahead of Kai Butler 0-2.
If I'm Brody Miller and this continues, I might have a chat with my right-hander pretty soon. He seems to be pretty in his head so far.
Hawk Hill is getting stretched out in the bullpen as that one catches the zone, and the count evens up at 1-1. Ace is free. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out with 1 runner on here in the top half of the 5th inning.
Ryan, I think I just learned something. I've never heard Ace is free.
You've heard it twice today now.
I know.
Yeah.
Never before that.
Nate and I were prepping for the game. We're watching the Cal Poly Oregon game, which Cal Poly won. They'll move on to play the loser of Utah Valley and Arizona State.
Whoa.
Sorry.
Jesus.
University of Arizona tomorrow. But the announcer in that game also said ace is free as this one is hit on the ground. Constantine to Henderson. Henderson to first. Double play to end the inning. Let's give away some teddy bears here in the ballpark as the Blues can maintain their 3-run lead and head into the bottom of the 5th, up 4-1 here on the SLO Blues streaming network. 3, 4, 5, Comerford, Smith, and Don Jordan are due up in the inning for the Blues as they will face Becerra in his second inning of work. Working from the windup now, not something we saw a lot in the last inning where he gave up 2 runs as Comerford fouls that one straight back to the screen.
Blues trying to tap back in what they saw that last inning. An E.J. Royal RBI single, a Zach Tallerman single. That ball was smoked off the bat of ZT. I want to replicate that here with Comerford, who can hit the ball around the same velocity.
He can hit the ball hard and he can hit the ball far as he takes that one up and in. And we're having some technical difficulties with our second camera. Dana are going to do our best to give you all the information still, but we can still see the pitcher catcher. Still see that pitch come in. As Comerford hits that one pretty high but not super deep out to center field. Butler ranges under it and makes the grab for the first out of the inning. Comerford, his first fly out of the day. Gavin Smith comes up. He's grounded out twice, but once was an RBI ground out in that 2-run third inning. Smith kind of becoming the everyday guy for the Blues, whether it's at designated hitter or at third base today, the DH. And I have a feeling we're going to see him at DH a little bit more, with Tallerman going to be a pretty regular guy in the lineup. That'll just mean that Comerford's going to be playing some more third and Smith will be playing some more designated hitter. As the 2-0 offering from Becerra is a fastball that misses up. (3-0), taking all the way is Smith, and he draws a walk. Ball 4. 1-out walk for the Blues as in steps Don Jordan, who is 0 for 1 today with a strikeout and a walk.
Heading out for the Blues.
Some traffic for San Luis Obispo, some decent speed too. Gavin Smith out there can run. Don Jordan can run too. He can really move down that line. But we know him so far this weekend for how hard he's been hitting the ball.
First pitch is way outside as Don Jordan squared to bunt. And shout out Nate. Look at that. Now the camera's working.
Hey.
Took the headset off and decided I'm going to be a studio engineer for a second.
We do it all here on the Blues.
Smith, decent sized lead. Don Jordan squares again. That pitch misses away again. 2-0. We'll see if Smith takes off. He does have a stolen base on the season. Stole third against the West Coast Kings on Monday, Memorial Day Monday, here at the ballpark. Don Jordan squares again. Misses the bunt attempt. Count runs to 2-1. See if he gets the bunt sign again, or if the third base coach Regalado says, you know what, Don, swing that thing.
I say swing that thing.
I agree. That pink bomb bat. Runner goes. Not a great jump. The throw is on the money, and Smith is able to slide in safely. The shortstop tried to cover second base and was just way too far away to make a play. And Smith is able to get in there safely.
Their stolen base number 2 on the season for Gavin, and as you said, the throw was on a good line, but unfortunate positioning there for Latimer and Chavez. Just couldn't communicate on who'd be covering the bag. If he was in a better spot, Smith might be out.
That one hit well by Don Jordan the other way. Ranging into the gap is the right fielder Bowen. Smith is going to tag up for third and overthrows his cutoff. It'll be an easy 90 for Gavin Smith as he moves up to third with 2 outs.
Oh man, Don Jordan just got underneath that one. I mean, just millimeters away from banging that one on the wall the opposite way.
Goes as a semi-productive out, and in steps Mason Ashlock, who we've talked about his power a few times today. He can bang it around the yard.
former Nebraska commit and a Weatherford College stud. 575 slugging in his career as a Coyote.
First pitch off speed, and the Expos must know it because first pitch slider to the 6-hitter is not something you see all that often, but he has banged a base hit and then drew a walk and later scored in the 4th. From the stretch, that one is banged into the gap. Bowen's giving chase. He's not going to get there. It's going to be extra bases as Gavin Smith comes in to score. Rounding second and heading for third. He is going to slide safely. An RBI triple for Mason Ashlock, his second hit of the day.
Oh, baby, a triple. This was punished the opposite way. And how about the wheels on Mason Ashlock rounding the bases? Kind of a gutsy call to go from second to third, but luckily the relay was awfully delayed. It took a long time for Latimer to get the ball out of his glove. A looping throw to the bag. Plenty of time for Ashlock to slide in safely. 5-1 Blues, cashing in Gavin Smith.
Exactly what Don Jordan just tried to do. As first pitch to Tollerman beams him right on the glute. He'll have a free 90 as Eli Henderson is going to come up with runners on the corners.
Another hit by pitch in today's game. We've already seen a HBP on the other side. Don't rub it.
I believe you told me during one of the breaks or maybe before the game, because we were talking about how well Ashlock was hitting the ball during batting practice. I believe you let it off with Mason Ashlock might be the truth.
Yes.
And we're seeing it from him today. That was a beautiful triple, the first triple of the season, actually, for the Blues. Catcher gives some signs to his infielder with Tollerman on first. Tollerman's a very smart base runner. He's not speedy. He's not going to steal second, but he's the type of guy who will go to second, get a run down so Ashlock can score as Henderson takes that pitch away for ball 1.
It's the perfect guy you want to, have some trickeration on the base paths. Unfortunately for the Blues, there's 2 outs, so you don't want to try that right now. But if they had a 1 or 2 to work with, if it was a no-out or 1-out situation, I'd pull something with Tolman at first.
Henderson flares that one into left field. It's going to be a really tough play on the run, and getting there is ends to end the inning. But Mason Ashlock comes up big, the RBI triple with 2 outs to score Gavin Smith, and the Blues extend the lead to 4 here on the SLO Blues streaming network. Jackson Howell back out there for his second inning of work after facing the minimum in the 5th inning. A line out, a walk, and then a 6-4-3 double play to end the inning. As the Blues added on an insurance run, and they've scored in the last 3 frames. Howell working from the stretch, deals a first pitch fastball, swung on and missed by Caleb Latimer. 0 for 1, a strikeout in the first. He was hit by pitch and caught stealing in the third.
Hopefully that rest time for Jackson Howell gave him some ample space to kind of recollect his thoughts. Seemed to really be in his head the last time he was out there. Sort of got bailed out by that 6-4-3 double play off the bat of Cam Bowen. Still a 5-1 lead, though, for the Blues, as Hawk Hill gets loose in the bullpen.
The 0-2 misses outside, goes back to the curveball at 1-2. And Nate, that curveball he threw in the 0-1 count, 2,500 RPMs.
Ooh.
Is that good?
It's very good. Heavy.
Especially coming off that fastball with his big, long 3/4 pitch. It has so much inside movement, and then you see that curveball with so much spin going away. It's just so hard to adjust to that pitch.
That's that heavy illusion. It's very difficult to explain if you've never hit. When you see a pitch, you just kind of know the ball just looks heavier.
The 2-2 fastball misses up and in. 0-2 to 3-2. We saw that with Kai Butler in the 5th. And especially because that first pitch fastball was middle in, and then he goes to the curveball that starts middle in and ducks to the bottom of the zone. And it just makes it so hard to see that it's not that fastball again. This one popped up in foul territory, maybe playable. It's going to sneak into the VIP section.
Even bounce. All right. Young man will take that home, and he can thank the folks who left.
To explain spin rate a little bit more for the audience, if you've ever watched a pitcher and you've heard his fastball hiss or sizzle, that means they have a high spin rate. It looks harder than it actually is sometimes, and that's what's happening with his curveball for Jackson Howell, creating the illusion.
The 3-2. Swung on and missed, strike 3. Latimer goes down swinging for the second time in today's ball game, and Howell has the first out of the 6th inning.
Here you go, Jackie, climbing the ladder, a fastball at 88 miles an hour, getting Latimer to chase after it. Looks so good coming out the hands of Jackson Howell. Comes up empty, first out of the inning.
Another thing, especially with spin rate, you mentioned that fastball, you get that hiss, but with the off-speed pitch, what it means too is that it creates that break that the pitchers are going to get on those off-speed pitches. So, tons of induced break because he's getting that ball to spin so many times before it gets to the plate.
That's the name of the game, right? That's a buzzword you'll hear all around baseball, induced break, and that's what pitchers will work on hours and hours at private gyms to try to get that induced break down.
1-0, excuse me, is a called strike. One. Changeup that misses away. Haven't seen that pitch too much from Howell, but he brings it out there and misses away. And usually our TrackMan can tell us what the induced break is, so we can tell you how astonishing those numbers are. But we're still calibrating it early in the season. It does not have that functionality quite yet, but hopefully we get that at some point.
The units will be in inches as well. And
yeah.
A lot of times when you watch major league pitchers, I think I saw a pitch the other day, someone clocked it at 25 inches of horizontal break.
Yeah, what gets me is when you see like sinkers with like 13 inches of break as ball 4. And, that's not a ton of break, but when it's Paul Skeens and he's throwing 100 right, and it also is going to drop 13 inches, and it like has the movement of a changeup, but it's thrown like Nolan Ryan's fastball.
And you're saying, how do you hit that? The answer is you don't.
You close your eyes, throw the barrel out there, and pray that it goes into the outfield.
That's what makes those guys in the big leagues so elite.
13, the designated hitter, Justice Laughlin.
If I was in the MLB, I think I would want to be on the Pirates. I don't want to face Skeens ever. There's a lot of great pitchers in the league, but Skeens is regarded right now as one of the most dominant. And I don't know if I want to face a guy with he doesn't even call it a sinker, it's a splinker. because of how much movement it has. It's a combination between a sinker and a splitter.
Well, you know who's got the hottest stuff right now, debatably, in the league? Cal Poly alum Brian Wu.
Yeah, he's been incredible.
His four-seam fastball isn't even supposed to have the movement that it does, but his arm side run is just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like his pitching coach is in the dugout with a remote control and just tells it to move and go fast, and it works. That one is drilled into center field, but a little off the end, and E.J. Royal will trance over to his right and make the grab for the second out of the inning.
Yeah, it came hot off the bat. It looks like that crosswind and high elevation just sort of messed with that ball a little bit. E.J. Royal took a couple steps back and had to trot in a little bit to come up with that one. 2 outs here in the 6th inning.
A little bit of a disadvantage you have you have disadvantage always when you're on the road as an opposing player, but it is just so hard to lift the ball and send it into gaps here that if you're trying to lift the ball at all, you're not going to be able to, and hitters might not know that coming into this ballpark. First pitch to Garay is fouled away. He's been giving Comerford a lot of work over there at third base, a pair of ground outs to him, one in the second and one in the fourth.
You can usually tell in batting practice when you're an opposing team at this field, I feel like. You can usually tell immediately, but if you're playing like a series here, you learn quickly how the ball cooperates.
The 0-1 misses outside. I mean, you just take one look at the flag in center field, and I think you could tell that anything that's hit to where E.J. Royal is standing in center field or further right is just not going to fly. One in the dirt. Gets stopped by Brody Miller to keep Jimmy Martinez over at first base.
Well, that crosswind brings the extra trickery too, right? Because you can see on the stream the flag is blowing from right to left, but from our vantage point here, from your perspective as the audience, it's left to right where we're sitting. And it gets more convoluted the higher up in the air.
Big swing and a miss to even up the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Fans scream for their hot sauce. Howell comes set from the stretch. The deuce is wild offering. Runner goes. Misses high. No throw from Miller. And it'll be an easy stolen bag for Jimmy Martinez.
Looks like Hal went with the heater that time. I was expecting the slider on the 2-2 count. That seems to be a pitch he's figured out pretty well with that horizontal break we've seen this inning.
Full count. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. Couldn't catch up to the fastball is Elijah Garay. He's 0 for 3 on the day as the Blues take their 4-run lead into the bottom of the 6th inning. And the bottom of the 6th inning is brought to you by Educational Employees Credit Union. We'll tell you more about them after the break. Brody Miller due up for the San Luis Obispo Blues in the bottom half of the 6th inning, as first pitch from Becerra is a called strike. As I remind you that this half inning is brought to you by Educational Employees Credit Union, proudly serving the Central Coast. EECU has a location in Paso Robles and can be found at myeecu.org. Experience smarter banking at Educational Employees Credit Union. Brody Miller, 1 for 2 on the day, a leadoff single, I should say, in the 3rd. He later scored on an RBI single from Brendan Comerford as he takes the 1-1 pitch and fouls it off. It's a squibber back to the on-deck circle where E.J. Royal is standing. He puts it over to the ball boy.
Blues don't want to be complacent now. Up 5-1 against the California Expos, but you want to put the foot on the gas right now. This is a classic lull in the game.
Almost gets hit in the 1-2 count. So he rolls away from it, just barely avoiding it. And I agree, Nate. The Blues have had some really quality at-bats in this game. And you don't want that to stop now because the offensive struggles have been apparent early in the season. And today is just a good day to get the bats rolling. We've mentioned multiple times how the Blues have their first CCL game against the Stompers on Tuesday. And the Stompers are a team, when they have all their guys, they can bang it around the yard. They're consistently, an above 500 team in the CCL. That's a team you want to make sure you have plenty of quality at-bats against. Brody Miller hits that one on the ground to Latimer. Cannot beat out the throw over to first to Martinez for the first out of the inning, his 2nd ground out of the evening.
And a couple of hops there. I thought he was going to kick off the mound for a second. We've seen quite a few of those today or this weekend already. He doesn't get so lucky here. It's an easy routine play for Latimer for the first out of the inning.
In steps the perfect man today. 3 for 3, an RBI, a run. All 3 are base hits. See what he does here. Takes a first pitch, curveball inside. Good take from E.J. Royal. That curveball's been working well for Becerra, especially when he throws it back door to these righties. E.J. does a good job to lay off of it. Fastball down, 2-0.
There's count out to E.J. Royal. Mentioned he's already 3 for 3 today. He finds himself in another good position to put a good swing on something.
3-0 to E.J. Royal. See if Becerra even decides to come inside to him here in the 3-0 count. Constantine awaits on deck. He's 0 for 3 with a pair of strikeouts. Royal, get me over fastball. Catches the outside at 87 miles an hour for strike 1.
That's a nice pitch there. Well placed on the 3-0 count. Usually it's just try to get it over the plate and hitting that outside corner perfectly.
Royal fouls that one away from 3-0 to 3-2. EJ is dating, or not, I shouldn't say dating back, but going back to yesterday's game, he has reached base safely in 5 straight at-bats, 4 hits, and a walk for EJ. (3-2) swung on, fouled off. We'll do it again. Becerra still on the mound in his 3rd inning of work. He's gave up 2 runs in the 4th and a run in the 5th, all of it earned. Royal draws ball 4, signals over that maybe a pitch they haven't seen yet. Looked like he signaled changeup over to the dugout.
It sure did. It looked like he did that, the OK symbol, and you kind of shake your finger over at the on-deck guy. That is a signal for a changeup because that's the circle change grip, and you waggle that over to whoever you're trying to indicate it at. That means changeup, and that's exactly what E.J. Royal did. It's obviously something they haven't seen, a curveball and a fastball mix so far today from Arturo Becerra.
Throw over almost gets E.J. Royal, and our talented stats team determined that was a sinker maybe. He's 81 on the velo with spin rate of a fastball, but it had that movement that you don't see from just a flat fastball.
So if you were to motion sinker to someone, what you would do is put your middle finger and your pointer finger together, your index finger, and then you would point it like you're doing a fake toy gun and then flick it to the side. That signals a sinker.
show that, because that's the way that sinker is going to move, especially if you're doing it with your right hand. Constantine swings over the top of a changeup.
And he wanted all of that one. It looked like he saw it all the way in, but just got a little too froggy on that swing.
Called strike. 1-2, and it's early in the season, Nate, but E.J. Royal has a 4-game hit streak, and he's been with the Blues for how many games? 4. The E.J. Royal we know and love is back.
That's how we started last year. Sands a 5 for 5, but still gets it done.
Evan Constantine swings over the top of the changeup. He's just having a rough time at the plate today in his 2025 starting debut. He has struck out 3 times, all 3 times swinging, and in comes Comerford, who sandwiched a RBI single between a ground out in the first and a fly out in the 5th.
Yeah, just not Constantine's night. Not seeing the pitch as well, and just really couldn't time up the changeup in that at bat.
First pitch misses outside. Sliding on his knees is Garay to keep it in front. Royal stands over at first. He walked 2 batters ago. Small lead for Royal standards. He takes off. Good jump taken for a strike. The throw down is a good one, but EJ's going to beat it out. A stolen base for EJ Royal. Another fast feet seat cushion being given out. That's EJ's 3rd stolen base of the summer.
Like you said, Ryan, a real nice jump off the get-go from EJ Royal. Looked like he ran into some sand a little bit there, like running in quicksand for a sec. Trouble getting stride, but able to get to second base safely.
Royal now in scoring position as Comerford swings over the top of that fastball. Falls behind 1-2.
That pitch just must look so juicy because these hitters are swinging and missing right on top of this changeup. It looks like it's just floating into the zone and they just can't quite time it up.
Comerford down in the count now, looking to produce another run for the Blues. Swung on, driven out to left field, but not very deep. Ends will range under it and make the grab for the 3rd out of the inning. Good sound off the bat, but just a little too high for Brendan Comerford. He has his 2nd flyout of the game. As the Blues still have a 4-run lead heading into the 7th inning, Nate Mills will take you the rest of the way here on the SLO Blues Streaming Network.
New pitcher on the mound for San Luis Obispo. It's Hawk Hill coming into relief. Not a typical role for him, usually a starting role in his time with the Sonoma Stompers, but now in relief for the Blues as they are up 5-1 over the California Expos in the top half of the 7th inning. Entering the final third of this game at Sinsheimer Stadium, a beautiful day on the Central Coast. The Blues with a 4-run lead over California. The first pitch is a broken bat. Line drive right to the second baseman Henderson, who catches it in the palm of his pocket. 1 pitch, 1 out in the 7th inning for Hawk Hill, a new pitcher in today's game.
As a reliever, not even as a reliever, just as a pitcher, you love 1 pitch, 1 out, especially in your first inning. Just gives you a lot of confidence going into the rest of the batters that you're gonna be able to get them out.
Hawk Hill, a JUCO bandit from Chabot College, and then played for the Seawolves at Sonoma State University. Now having to find a new school as their program went under. First pitch will go to a new pinch hitter. Zane Thornton's day is done, and Bradley Gage comes in to replace him. Oh, 1 offering. Gage swings and misses over the slider for strike 2. So Zane Thornton's outing reached on an error in the second, was stranded at second base and struck out swinging in the 4th. Fans want their hot sauce in Hawk Hill's appearance. Here's the 0-2. Sweeper missing outside, and Gage takes it all the way for a ball. Gage, a super utility player. Catcher, outfielder, right-handed pitcher. He can do it all. 1-2. And Gage dribbles it in front of home plate. Comerford, the third baseman, charges it on the infield grass. Makes the running throw to Tolman in time. Yeah, Brennan Comerford sure is getting a lot of reps at third base today, and he makes a nice throw over to Tolman at first base for the second out of the inning. Ryan and I were just talking about how it's good to have 1 pitch, 1 outs if you're a pitcher. This is just a really efficient inning for Hawk Hill so far. Now it's Gio Chavez, the 9-hole hitter for the Expos. First pitch. Chavez watches the changeup inside for a strike. Infielder from Lindsay, California. A season at Porterville College and will be playing at Midland University this next season as a rising junior. This one missing outside, 2-0 to Gio Chavez, who had a .224 batting average last season at Porterville College. Knocked in 11 runs, 1 home run. And he announced his commitment to Midland University about a week ago. 1-0. Off the hands, popped up and out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike now. Not a lot of times you see a commitment after 1 year of school in terms of JUCO bandits. But Chavez liked what he saw at Midland University and will take off to play infield for the Warriors. Hawk Hill from the windup on the 2-1 count. And Chavez spits on the off-speed inside. 3 balls and a strike now. Hawk Hill, a longtime Sonoma Stomper and a Sonoma Seawolf. Now with the Blues. He loved what he saw so much at away games here at Sinsheimer. He wanted to be a part of the action. This one flared off the end of the bat. Royal, the center fielder, takes a couple steps in, makes the flat-footed grab to retire the side. 3 up, 3 down for Hawk Hill in the top of the 7th inning. Well, time to stretch here at Sinsheimer, the Slow Blue Streaming Network.
Side right now, top of the stairs, third base.
Home after the 7th inning at Sinsheimer Stadium. Gavin Smith, Don Jordan, and Mason Ashlock due out for the San Luis Obispo Blues. As we remind you, this inning is brought to you by our friends at Ancient Owl, Beer Garden and Bottle Shop, and your go-to spot for every Blues road game. Located just around the corner from Sinsheimer, Ancient Owl is the official home of the Blues watch party all season long. Ancient Owl, choose your beer wisely. Gavin Smith takes a look at strike one down the middle of the plate to begin things in the home half of the 7th. Ought to be utilizing that watch party pretty soon as the Blues head up to Sonoma for a midweek road match against the Stompers. First game's in the CCL North as Gavin Smith takes a look at strike two.
I won't be traveling with the team this week as I am still in classes finishing up my junior year. So you might see me over at Ancient Owl if you stop by and decide to watch the game there.
Say hi to Ryan.
Yeah.
The handsome fella. You'll know him. From the stretch. Missing low to Gavin Smith, a ball and 2 strikes. It's a new pitcher as well for the California Expos. Evan Drummond from Holy Family University replaced Arturo Becerra. Middle of the infield wide open. And the 1-2 misses out of the fingertips, up and outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Gavin from Queen Creek, Arizona, a graduate of Basha High School. Batted .214 in his first season with the Harvard Crimson in 7 starts, 2-2. And Smith hits this one off the hands into left center gap. Enns and Butler converging, and Butler calls off his left fielder for the first out of the inning. Fly ball to left center retires Gavin Smith for the 3rd time today. So after a quick pop fly out, it's Don Jordan, who's 0 for 2 today. Started off his afternoon with a walk, struck out swinging to end the 3rd, and flew out to Bowen in right field. Jordan from Humboldt, Texas, a graduate of Summer Creek High School, where he posted a .425 average, 4 homers, and 29 stolen bases in his final campaign. To put that in perspective, high school seasons typically last around 30 games in the regular season. He stole 29 bags in a 30-game season.
Oh, my God.
4 homers as well.
He's a very toolsy guy. He's still picking up the rest of the tools to become that 5-tool player.
1-0. He's late on this one and sends it up and out of play. Strike one.
But we've seen the speed. We've seen him flash the leather at times. We've seen him hit for contact. He had that one hit, 100-mile-an-hour base hit. We haven't quite seen the power from him. We're still picking up the pieces. Like I said, he can be really toolsy.
That's the last piece that Texas is looking for as the 1-1 misses high, 2 balls and a strike. Talk with him about the expectations for this next year. I think people are aware of his good defense and the good breaks he gets out in center field and in right field. I'm just trying to lift the baseball more and collect some extra base hits. 2-1. Jordan spits on that one upstairs, 3 balls and a strike.
Yeah, I remember when we were talking to him about, his plan. He's like, I feel most comfortable playing center field. And, I didn't say this to him, but I was like, unfortunately, we have EJ Rule. You're going to have to learn how to play a corner outfield spot, at least most of the games, because EJ just peruses center field for 40 straight games for the Blues.
3-1, and Jordan was taking all the way on a curveball that poured into the zone for a strike.
But, he's definitely shown us why he could play center field in his time so far in right. He had a nice sliding catch in Game 2 of the season, and he's been really rangy and showed off a good arm.
Gets underneath this one, and a towering pop-up to Enns in left field. Shortstop Latimer is way out there, but Enns calls him off and makes the grab, running in for the 2nd out of the inning.
Yeah, like you mentioned, just got underneath it, saw back-to-back curveballs. Couldn't sit on that one, out in front, and just caught it on the end of his swing, popped it up. It was honestly a pretty tough play because they know that Jordan can hit the ball hard, so Enns was deep, and Latimer was going out, but Enns called him off and settled under.
So here's Mason Ashlock now, the former Nebraska commit who recommitted a few days ago. And he's first pitch swinging here, and the pitcher can't glove it as he falls on top of the mound. It softly rolls into center field for a base hit.
His 3rd hit of the day. That one 68 miles an hour. Not hit hard, but right back up the middle, and it gets by the pitcher. And once you get the ball past the pitcher, there's not a lot the middle infielders can do. A lot of just open space, and right there, it works as a 2-out hit for the Blues.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Ashlock is both of them in his case. 2-out knock here for the left fielder brings up Zach Tellerman, who is 1 of 2 this afternoon with a hit by pitch in the 5th inning. Tellerman leaves a fastball bouncing on top of home plate for ball 1. ZT finished up his lone season at San Jose State with a career high in plate appearances, 119 for the Spartans. 261 batting average, a 420 slugging, 523 on base percentage. As Ashlock takes off towards second base, Garay won't even throw down a stolen bag for Ashlock, his first in a Blues uniform.
He beat me to it. I was just going to try to figure out how many he had in college, but before I could even get there, he's already going towards second base.
Now a runner in scoring position for ZT. Right side of the infield, wide open for Tallman to punch one the opposite way. Here's a 2-1, and Zach gets underneath one and pops it up out of play on the left side. 2 balls and a strike now to Tollerman. 6 hit by pitches, 6 walks for Tollerman this past season with his 30 strikeouts with the Spartans. 5 doubles, the same amount as he had at UC Riverside the year prior. 2-1. And Tollerman gets a hold of this one, but it looks like it will be foul. Might have broken his bat. He's inspecting it, and yeah, capped it off the end of the barrel, and he'll search into the dugout for a lucky teammate to give up their bat. The pink bomb bat, were you going to see it?
You can see how upset he looks walking back to the dugout. It's not fun breaking your lumbar. That means tomorrow you got to go and buy a new one.
It's pricey too. It's not just a chore. This stuff is not cheap. Especially this bomb bat. Those run about you $500 if you want one. I mean, but they don't break.
It takes a lot to break them.
Yeah. I mean, if you have a bulldozer, maybe.
I mean, or if you're E.J. Royal and just hit the ball in the barrel.
Tollerman scooches out of the way of a fastball inside. 3-2 now to Zach Tollerman, the 6'4" first baseman and a local.
And while we're on it, a fun fact about me is I once made a bat.
Did you?
Yeah, in like 5th grade, I had a buddy's dad who was a woodworker, and so he had like a spinning thing, and we made a bat.
3-2, swung on and missed, strike 3. The Blues strand a runner, but they get a hit from Mason Ashlock. 5-1 San Luis Obispo. Heading into the 8th, as we remind you, this break is brought to you by SLO County Golf. Top of the 7th is brought to you by SLO County Golf, offering 3 courses in SLO, Morro Bay, and Atascadero. They offer a unique combination of beautiful scenery and affordable prices. Book your next tee time at slowcountygolf.com. Hawk Hill returns to the mound for San Luis Obispo, a 5-1 lead for the Blues over the California Expos as they appeal to first on the check swing. For the leadoff man, Kai Butler, he didn't go around. 1 ball, no strikes. Kai today with a pair of walks and a strikeout on the first. As Hill delivers, and Butler watches the sweeper outside, 3 balls and no strikes. Right-hander getting loose to the SLO Blues bullpen. We saw some motion a little earlier from Cooper Bagby, but is now taking a rest. 3-0. Heater down the heart of the plate, strike 1. Butler stole a bag in the 3rd inning and was stranded at 3rd base. Double play line out to Henderson at 2nd. Hill with a deep sigh now comes through in the windup. And the 3-1 is popped up high in the infield. First baseman Tollerman charges it, calls off the catcher and Miller, and he can't make the grab in foul territory. Zach Tollerman had it all squared up, but at the last second lost the baseball. And a new life for the leadoff man, Kai Butler.
That's just a tough play for Tollerman, and based on the rule of defense, he has all the right to call off the catcher. All the infielders can call off the pitcher and catcher, but that one just, maybe he should have left for Gregory.
And Hawk was going towards that baseball like he was going to make the catch. Never let that happen, infielders. Bouncing ball on top of home plate, and that's ball 4. A leadoff walk to Kai Butler. That's his 3rd of the afternoon. And now it gives way to Cam Bowen, who is 0 for 3 himself today.
Well, I've been playing baseball and watching baseball my whole life, but I learned about the rule. I don't know what exactly it's called, but the rule of calling off last night. I didn't know there was like a set, rule guideline. I knew what they were, but I didn't know there was like an actual guideline for them.
Yep.
So it was pretty interesting watching a guy break that down online.
Hits this one off the end of the bat. Royal just moves a couple steps to his left and makes the running grab. Hawk Hill gets an out and a pitch following the leadoff walk from Kai Butler. There's 1 out in the 1st, or in the 8th.
Second 1 pitch out for Hawk Hill. He led off his appearance against Enns with that as well. But to go over what that is, the center fielder has right of everything in the outfield. The outfielders have right of everything over the infielders. The shortstop has right over the whole infield. Second baseman has the right, or the middle infielders have right over the corner infielders. And then all the infielders have rights over the pitcher and catcher. Catcher has right over the pitcher.
There you go.
So essentially the pitcher should never touch the baseball if it's hit in the air,
yes,
unless it is right back to them and goes maybe 15 feet or less in the air.
And this is why when you hear pitchers say, we're athletes too, pitchers are athletes too, you'll hear position players go, please. You're last on the priority to touch the baseball.
And as a broadcaster, pitchers are athletes. Pitching is tough, but stay away from the ball. You don't need to get hurt.
0-1. Check swing and throw down to second base on a stolen base attempt, and Brody Miller guns him down. Kai Butler is shot down on the caught stealing. 2 outs in the 8th.
What a throw by Brody Miller. He's been throwing missiles over to second and just barely been getting, not getting those runners out at second. And very good throw and a good tag by the middle infielder, Constantine.
So now the base is empty with 2 gone, an 0-2 count to Latimer. And he swings and misses for strike 3. Curveball from Hawk Hill. Efficient inning for Hill as we head into the home half of the 8th. 5-1 Blues, SLO Blues Streaming Network.
Henderson.
Bottom of the 8th inning from San Luis Obispo, Sinsheimer Stadium, for the Blues hosting the California Expos in a short 2-game stint this weekend. First pitch to Eli Henderson, misses low in the dirt for ball 1. Eli's the leadoff man in this inning. He's followed by Brody Miller, who gunned down a runner trying to steal second base, and E.J. Royal will bat third in the frame. Henderson 0 for 3 this afternoon, and he takes a look at strike 1 in the at-bat. Ground out to first, an RBI ground out to the shortstop Latimer, and a pop out to the left fielder Ennis. Only left-handed hitter in today's lineup for the Blues. Easy spit on the changeup outside, 2 balls and a strike. He's all GMAC second team his freshman season at Cedarville University for the Yellow Jackets, a career .342 hitter. 2-1's a curveball pouring into the zone for strike 2. Ridiculous walk to strikeout ratio, 74 walks to his 34 Ks. Kid knows the zone well, entering his junior season at Cedarville. Here's a 2-2. Leaves that fastball high and outside. Good set of peepers that time from the infielder from Clovis, California. 3 balls and 2 strikes. He has started in all 100 games these past 2 seasons for the Yellow Jackets, a familiar face for that squad. Getting some extra work on the Central Coast. Payoff pitch, missing inside, and that's a leadoff walk to Henderson. Doing what he does best and collecting the base on balls to begin the 8th inning.
I've been really impressed with his play so far, and I'm a little upset that he's only a 2-week guy. He's played a really good second base. This is his second game that he started now, and in his first one he batted 5th, reached base safely 3 times, had a 2 RBI double, and then today an RBI ground out and a walk. He's played really well for the Blues, and we had a really good second baseman last year, and Henderson I thought could have been that guy, but he's a 2-week guy.
Henderson takes off towards second base. 5-1 lead as he takes that pitch upstairs. 2 balls and no strikes. Blues lead the California Expos. They were trailing through the first 2 innings of the game, and a 2 spot in the 3rd. And they tacked on more in the 4th and 1 more in the 5th. 9 hits for San Luis Obispo to California's 1.
Blues pitching through the last 17 innings has only allowed 3 hits.
That's going to play no matter what. 2-0. And Brody Miller takes that one for a strike. Down the heart of the plate, looked like a changeup that time to Miller. Didn't like it. A 2-1 count. You can be a little bit greedy in a count like that, in a hitter's count situation. You want one that you can love. Clearly Miller didn't love that one. Runner at second base. It's Eli Henderson with E.J. Royal standing on deck. Inside move to second. And Chavez was there and retreated back towards his position at second base. No throw. Wind starting to die down at Sinsheimer. We've seen it blow out to left field rather frequently, but now it's back to its traditional spot of blowing straight in from center field. Brody Miller waggling his maple-colored barrel behind his head as the pitch comes in, and he watches a sweeper outside. 3 balls and a strike. As a reminder, Evan Drummond came in a couple innings ago from Holy Family University. He replaced Arturo Becerra for the California Expos. An empty bullpen for them right now. Blues have a couple of guys clamored around in their bullpen, but no motion. 3-1, and Miller's late on this fastball. He pops it up and towards the Blues bullpen. First baseman Martinez gave chase, but no play. 3 balls and 2 strikes to the Mendocino College backstop. Entering his redshirt sophomore season at Mendocino College, Brody Miller is, and another temporary guy for the Blues. Runner at second base for him. A 3-2 count with no gone in the home half of the 8th. Here's the pitch, and Miller's late on this one, sending it straight back into the net behind home plate. We'll do it again at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Three and 2 to Brody Miller. Infield shifted to the pull side of the catcher. Here's the pitch. And Miller gets underneath this one, hits a high fly ball to shallow left center field. Butler racing in, makes the grab. Losing his hat, the center fielder collects it and records the first out of the 8th inning. A long at bat from Brody Miller. He was battling that whole time against Evan Drummond, just kind of spoiling away all the pitches he could get. Doesn't pay off for him though on the weak pop fly out to Butler. Now here's a guy that sure knows how to produce, E.J. Royal, the leadoff man for San Luis Obispo, who has gotten on base in all 4 of his plate appearances today, including 3 singles, one of them driving in a run. First pitch. Royal holds up his swing on a slider low and outside, a ball and no strikes.
EJ reached base safely his last 6 at-bats. See if he can keep the streak going here.
In a good spot right now, able to see a lot of pitches coming at him, clearly. Long hold and a long look at second, now the 1-0. Royal leaves that one inside, 2 balls and no strikes.
And I think the pitchers for the Expos are just figuring out that E.J. Royal is dangerous and that you don't want to mess with that man. And they're just kind of pitching around him, hoping that, he won't put a barrel on something and find a gap. And, ever since his 3 base hits, he hasn't really seen a strike.
2-0 and an off-speed pitch below the zone, 3 balls and no strikes. Just kind of hoping that he'd go fishing after that pitch. When you're in a 2-0 count, like I said with Brody Miller, you want one that you just absolutely love. And that's not one that one would love in a count like that.
I'd be very surprised, 2 up 4, to see EJ full taking here in a 3-0 count.
He takes, and that's ball 4. EJ Royal reaches base safely for the 5th time this game. Looks like an arm is getting loose in that Blues bullpen now. Sean York, committed sophomore from San Bernardino, California, getting hot. A right-hander in the pen for the Blues. So now it's Gavin Constantine, who's trying to get on the right path this summer. He's had a pretty rough start to his season. Both runners take off, and Constantine puts it in play. It's a ground ball to the shortstop, Latimer, who can't glove it. An error from Latimer, and Constantine is aboard.
Not necessarily what Constantine was looking for, but it's his first ball he's put in fair territory, and he's standing safely on first base, so maybe a little bit of confidence for the kid going into this summer. You mentioned he's going to be a guy who's going to play a lot. He had 81 plate appearances last year for the Blues. He's going to get up to the plate, and last year he was solid for us, but would love to be an everyday guy at the middle, one of the middle infield positions.
Who else would you rather have up here than Brendan Comerford for San Luis Obispo? Bases loaded, 1 out. And Brendan looks at the first pitch high, 1 ball, no strikes. The reigning SLO Blues Player of the Week, who drove in 62 runs this past season at Ohlone College.
We got to come up with a fun name for that.
Game Player of the Week?
Yeah, Player of the Week.
1-0. Comerford gets hit. That was a loud crack on the arm. Hopefully it was the elbow guard, but he is writhing in pain on the left-handed batter's box. That did not sound good.
And I'm thinking it didn't hit that elbow guard based on his reaction.
It is blue score, you score pricey.
Well, he's taken off the elbow guard, and with the bases loaded, that hit by pitch does bring in a run. It looks like Comerford is smiling, but that was a scary sound there. It looked like something broke, but he appears to be okay.
It's $3 bill.
It's a tough cookie right there. Brendan Comerford can wear it with the best of them.
Beer 2 over on the third base side, and beer 2 was closed, so the only beer available is over on the third base side. Beer 1, the main beer trade.
So the hit by pitch, and the Blues bring in another run. 6-1, San Luis Obispo, and it's Gavin Smith.
Hey, maybe not the way you would have wanted to get it done, but double-digit RBIs on the season now for Comerford.
There you go. Here's Smith with his crimson-colored batting gloves.
I see what you did there.
Infielder from Harvard University. First pitch, and he hits this one hard into left field, but right at ends. Runner tags from third. The throw comes into the infield, and it's way offline. Sacrifice fly from Gavin Smith, and E.J. Royal scores. The Blues add on 7-1 San Luis Obispo.
Very productive out. Gavin Smith just missed that ball. It was just off. It was off the end of the bat, and he still hit it really well out into left field. If he could barrel up that ball and turn on it, I'd have been looking at a grand slam.
Yeah, he was awfully close. I don't think was in a right hitting position to really barrel that one up. He kind of spun around in the batter's box on that swing. First pitch to Don Jordan is crushed out to left field. Ends going back at the wall, on the top of the wall. Constantine rounds third and comes in to score. RBI double, Don Jordan, and the Blues are pulling away from the Expos.
Man, oh man, with better launch angle, I think that ball is hitting a school bus in left field. But Don Jordan hits one right off the Adventist health sign in left field, and it serves as a RBI double. I think Comerford thought it was gone too, because with 2 outs, you should be running hard, but Comerford was kind of lollygagging his way around second.
That'll get your heart rate up, Ryan. I was excited to call a home run right there, but just hitting at the top of the wall, Don Jordan that time.
You must have heard me talk about how we haven't seen him hit for power quite yet, because that thing was smoked off the wall.
And I was talking a little earlier about how the wind has just kind of changed directions recently. It was blowing out earlier, and now it's blowing straight in from center. That's a look we're kind of accustomed to at Sinsheimer Stadium.
He had that 100-mile-an-hour single yesterday, and then a 95-mile-an-hour extra base hit off the wall. Like I mentioned, just not the greatest launch angle. If that thing's 3 or 4 degrees lower on that launch plane, I think that thing is hitting over the C trains out left.
Well, it's never too late to purchase your tickets for our signature firework game on July 3rd. Celebrate the Stars and Stripes and watch the Blues play under the lights at our biggest game of the summer. Save your seat now and secure those tickets at bluesbaseball.com. So now it's Mason Ashlock. He's got 3 hits today and a walk in the 4th. First pitch to him. Mason swings and misses at a fastball for a strike.
He was trying to replicate that Don Jordan swing right there.
Runners on second and third. Wind blowing straight in from center. Ashlock stands in the right-handed batter's box. 0-1. Mason spoils that one outside. A slider in the other box. 1 ball and 1 strike. Mason and EJ are having a battle right now for who's going to be player of the game.
Yeah, it's tough. Both of them have reached base safely every time they've come to the plate.
1-1, and Ashlock goes the opposite way, out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes. I think the greatest separator right now is that RBI triple.
Yeah, but EJ got an RBI single. I think because, like, if Mason doesn't reach base safely here,
this determines player of the game, I fear.
It might.
Yeah. 8-1 ball game. The Blues with a 3-run 8th inning against Evan Drummond. 1-2 high and outside, evens it up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Zach Tellerman stands on deck. 1 for 3 day for him. Ashlock ready. 2-2. Mason leaves that one high, fills it up at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Got to be Drummond's best pitch here.
Also needs to be something that Ashlock can't hit because he can swing that stick.
Sure can. He did so at Weatherford this past season. 3-2 is sent straight back to the right of the press box. We'll do it again at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Drove in 46 runs in 46 games. Two runners on. Here's the 3-2, and Ashlock leaves that one outside, ball 4. 2-out walk for Mason Ashlock, and he's aboard for the 5th time this game. So now it's up to Zach Tellerman with 2 gone and the bases loaded.
Blues just, as I mentioned in the couple innings ago, that they can't get complacent. They need to continue to have good at-bats. And they're doing it in this inning. Tons of great at-bats. A couple of walks, a double, a hit by pitch, a sac fly, just great quality at-bats.
First pitch to ZT is a curveball called strike.
What you love to see from the Blues, especially, when you play teams that are high caliber teams like the South team, like the Foresters and the Riptide, and some North teams, you just have to have good at-bats.
0-1, and Tallman hits this one off the hands of the third baseman, who taps the bag and records the out. But the Blues add 3 more to their lead. 8-1 San Luis Obispo. Heading into the 9th, last chance for the Expos on the SLO Blues streaming network. New pitcher in for the Blues. It's Sean York, the big right-hander, standing in at 6'6" from Rancho Cucamonga, California. And to close this one for San Luis Obispo, spent his first year of college at Riverside Community College and redshirted his first season there. Getting some reps here in San Luis Obispo.
Good outing for Hawk Hill in relief. Faces the minimum, strikes out 1, doesn't give up a hit in 2 innings of work.
Blues up 8-1, a hefty cushion for them over the California Expos as they try to put a bow on this game. 4-5-6 due up for California. Jimmy Martinez will be the first batter. First pitch to him is a fastball in there for a strike. 89 miles an hour on the top of the zone. Martinez grounded out to Comerford and walked twice in this game. Here's the 0-1. Swinging and sending it straight back into the net. No balls and 2 strikes. Expo hitters have only struck out 6 times this evening against the Blues pitchers. They've been doing a good job at fighting away pitches in the zone and staying alive in their at-bats. See if anything changes here against the new righty Sean York.
Don't really have anything to show for it with just the 1 hit and 1 run.
0-2. Broken bat over to Comerford at third. He makes the charging play, and on the transition to his hand, he bobbles it and loses the baseball.
And in the grand scheme of things, not probably going to hurt you up 7 with only 3 outs remaining for the opposing team, but just something you don't want to see happen. Silly mistakes that you can't have in more competitive games. It's
just so muscle memory for those guys out there. They take so many reps, and you flip the baseball into your throwing hand, and it's a play that you just have done so many reps on, and you automatically make it. But just kind of elapsed that time for Comerford. No harm done. It is the third error of the night for San Luis Obispo. Still an 8-1 game, a runner on first now. Justice Laughlin digging in the right-handed batter's box with his cyan-colored gloves. First pitch plunks him right in the lower back. 89 miles an hour right to the kidney. Ugly look here as Comerford made an error and a hit-by pitch to Laughlin. So 2 runners on, one via an error and one a hit-by pitch. Now it's Elijah Garay. Garay is 0 for 3, grounded out to the hot corner twice and struck out swinging to end the 5th. York from the belt fires. A swing and a miss on a fastball inside for strike 1 at 88 miles an hour. Garay from Reedley College entering his sophomore season, a native of Reedley as well. Also a graduate of Emmanuel High School, where he was first team all-conference his junior season and second team all-conference his sophomore season. Here's the 0-1. This one fouled off the front foot of Garay. Falls down in the right-handed batter's box. Both feet still in the air. That one hurts. Hobbles around to his third base coach. That's going to take some time to recover from. It's a scary feeling when you foul it off your front foot, and kind of a theme within this past weekend. There's all this padding on that front foot, and the baseball somehow found a way to hit the one spot where there's no pad.
Yeah, it's crazy how often it happens.
More than you'd think.
Yeah, especially, players, some players do it in advance, but a lot of players will put padding on a spot once they've been hit there. And then it's like, I just got hit there, 6 months ago, and now it's going to hit 4 inches above that padding I put on to protect that area.
0-2. Sweeper missing outside, backhanded by Miller, 1 ball and 2 strikes. It's not one thing, it's another. I did see, though, for the first time the other day, a Major League Baseball player wearing knee pads, a knee pad at the dish. I don't know, man. 1-2 from York. Heater missing low, evens it up at 2-2.
I mean, at that level, I get it, because people are throwing 104 nowadays in the MLB. I don't want to get hit anywhere at 104.
It's not fun. 2-2. Fastball missing high, 3 balls and 2 strikes. And York got the batter Elijah Garay, and an 0-2 count. All of a sudden filled it up at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Payoff pitch is roped down the left field line. Foul. Gray just finished up a season that he'd like to forget from Reedley College. 180 batting average, 292 slugging. 2 homers, though, 2 doubles and a triple in his 16 hits. Payoff pitch, and Garay swings and misses for strike 3. Elevated fastball at 89 miles an hour. A strikeout for first out of the 9th inning.
York throwing the ball hard, has good movement on his stuff. Has had a pretty rough time locating early in this outing, but right there finds it right out over the plate. 89, top of the zone, and gets Garay swinging.
You have just won $1 million.
Runners on first and second with 1 gone, and this one's hit looping over the head of Henderson and into right field. Rounding third and coming in to score is Martinez. Here's the throw, gunned him out by 5 feet. Hose piece from Don Jordan in right field, guns out a runner at the plate.
I mentioned earlier how he's picking up the tools, trying to become a 5-tool guy. He showed us hitting for power. He has now showed us the fielding.
That was a frozen rope to Miller at the bag.
And as soon as I saw Martinez round third, I was like, bad decision, buddy. Because we've seen Don Jordan airmail the catcher, but we've also seen him throw some ropes. And right there, we saw a rope.
So now 2 outs with runners at first and second. Still an 8-1 ball game. First pitch misses outside, or is actually called a strike. Gage in an 0-1 count. Runners on first and second, trailing big against the Blues. Here's the 0-1. Gage takes it for strike 2. Expos down to their final strike in the top of the 9th inning at Sinsheimer. Sean York trying to put this game away. 2 looks at second. Now delivers. Sweeper just missing outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
That's a really good pitch. Just missed off the plate, but started it on the plate. A good take by Bradley Gage to just lay off that one and see another pitch.
Sean York takes a deep sigh and comes set at the belt from the stretch. Here's the 1-2. Swinging a bouncing ball. Foul down the first base line. We'll do it again. Gio Chavez awaits on deck. He's hitless today. Gage hitless as well ever since replacing Zane Thornton in the 7th inning. One ball and 2 strikes to Gage. York nods and delivers. Sweeper missing outside. Gage doesn't budge. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Deuces wild. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Taken, strike 3. Got the outside corner and a team dinner at Chuck E. Cheese for the Blues.
Great job by Sean York to come in and get the final 3 outs and win the game in dominant fashion over the Expos.
Game ends at 6:49 p.m. at Sinsheimer Stadium, and another good win for San Luis Obispo as they improve to 5-1 in the non-conference season. Well, it's another game you got to win if you're San Luis Obispo, and it's good to see those inflated innings come into play. It's a little bit, it gets the heart rate moving up a bit if you're a Blues fan, and the offense comes up empty so many times against inferior pitching. But then it feels good when they come through like they did in the 8th inning and the 3rd and the 4th, putting up some crooked numbers. Blues are still kind of trying to figure out what their style is going to be of offense this season. And as more and more players kind of trickle in for this team, I think we'll get closer to that identity. It's certainly what we discovered last year with the Blues.
Yeah, absolutely. The identity last year was hit for contact, be scrappy. This year, like you mentioned, haven't really got there, but the pitching has been so dominant these last 2 days, allowing just 4 hits and 2 runs and 18 innings of work. They've really been the key piece for the Blues so far this whole season. I'd say they've only really had 1 bad inning, and that was the Hunter Hammond outing in Game 3 of the season. Their only loss so far, but outside of that, they've been dominant on the mound.
Ryan, I got my players of the game, Mason Ashlock for me. Got RBI triple in the 6th, those 2 walks, stole a bag in the 7th, and paired those with the 2 singles. Hats off to E.J. Royal, played a great game. I think that triple is the great separator.
Yeah, I agree with you. That only triple that the Blues have this whole season, and it was just a really well-hit ball into the opposite field gap. And we're excited to see what that Polaroid looks like of Mason Ashlock in his first start in a Blues uniform. It's our player of the game.
I got to see him smiling. Don Jordan took his Polaroid last night and smiled and was like, let's do it again. Let's see those pearly whites.
Yeah, come on, man. We got to see the pearlies, got to see the smile. And so he took 2, like you mentioned. We saw the one with the smile. The smile looked good.
It looked awesome.
Yeah.
I'd post it if I were him.
Yeah, but, he settled for the mug shot, and he liked that one better, and that's the one we got up on the wall. So maybe he'll keep the other one.
There we go. We'll post that one and not tell him. 7 strikeouts for Blues pitching as well. They held it down pretty well against the California Expos. Just allowing the 1 run on 2 hits, Ryan. But again, the pitching was good. The defense really needs to tighten it up on the errors. 3 tonight for San Luis Obispo.
Yeah, just not going to happen when a team gets 7-8 hits. Those errors are going to kill you. Today, 3 of them, like you just mentioned. 3 last night. They did a really good job on Monday with only 1, but then 5 on Sunday. Like, you can't just have games where you have 2 errors is like the max you can have. especially considering a lot of these guys, they play baseball their whole lives. It's fundamental stuff that they're making mistakes on. Brendan Comerford just like not fielding a routine ground ball. So just little things like that you just have to clean up, have to tweak. And the Blues don't have a practice this week either to do that. They got 2 games on the road against the Stompers to start CCL play.
Absolutely. The Blues having a lengthy conversation down the first baseline. Dean Traynor talking it over with his squad. They haven't quite tipped the caps at the fans yet. That's a tradition typically here at Sinsheimer Stadium. But the Blues relishing a victory against the California Expos. They're looking to grab one more before they head on the road and head up to Sonoma to play against the Stompers in their first CCL North game. And tomorrow, I think the energy they have to bring in is keep hitting the baseball hard. Bring up those blow-up innings. If you're going to work that way, it can work that way. That's how the Arizona State Sun Devils worked, and I got intimate knowledge of that this past season as they play in a regional game right now. But the Blues get a dub, 8-1 over the California Expos at Sinsheimer. They'll be back here for a Mimosa Sunday here at Sinsheimer Stadium.
First Mimosa Sunday.
Our first one. So fans come out and grab a mimosa here. Ryan and I will be on the play-by-play for you if you can't make it out there. Thanks for tuning in to San Luis Obispo Blues baseball, an 8-1 victory over the California Expos. Have a great evening.